Warning, this podcast was produced by two men who still think that swearing is both big and clever. As a result, it contains quite a lot of it. Therefore, this podcast is not suitable for children, unless they're really fucking cool children. Yes, people, Dave Fensom here with another episode of Pop Collaborate and Listen, joined as always by my main man, Mr. Krister.
Hello, everyone.
And this week we have got a fantastic special guest for you, none other than one of our favourite people on the comedy circuit. It's Mr. Rich Wilson.
Hello.
Yes,
Here we are.
mate. Love it.
Rich, last time you joined us, we were talking about Depeche Mode.
Yeah, we were.
Back in the old days, back in the old garage before it knocked down. That's where my mum lives now.
Yes, I've been to your... We had pizza in your garden.
We did.
Yeah, or pizza from the garden, shall
Absolutely.
I say.
Yes, indeed,
Pizza a la Dave. Made it in my little fucking uni pizza oven. But yes.
Well, I think your wife did most of it.
Well, shut up. Right?
Well, yeah, no, that was a couple of years back now. That was, season 3 or something.
Yeah, it was a while, man. It was a while.
Season 6 now.
Anyway.
But no, thank you for coming in, man. Really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Yeah,
Always a pleasure talking to you. You boys.
Yeah, well, you've had a bastard of a drive today, have you not?
Dude, I don't know what's going on. Where's the South Coast? And everyone just goes, the sun's out. It's bank holiday. Let's just go.
Yeah, we're recording this on Bank Holiday Friday. It's a lovely sunny day, and it does appear everyone's gone, let's go to Brighton then, shall we?
They're all in Brighton, or they're all... I don't know what's going on in Arundel. Is there like a jousting festival going on? Jousting.
It's a tour. They're burning the poor. It's a big national Tory burning the poor.
That's going to be a long old weekend. That.
Absolutely,
there's a lot of us. There's a lot of poor people.
Reformer sponsoring it. It's going to be a lovely time. Right, so we are here this week to talk about Stanley Road by Paul Weller, number one album. Now, Krister,
yes,
how do you feel? What's your Paul Weller history?
I remember this album coming out because it was a big deal. I never had it at the time, but friends of mine did, so I kind of heard bits and pieces of it. I remember the singles off the previous ones off Wildwood and off just Paul Weller. I remember those singles and I remember enjoying them, but I was never a big Weller fan.
Yeah.
And I would say that, whenever I was growing up and the Jam were a thing, right? I was about 5, 6 whenever the Jam were happening. I actively disliked the Jam because they were on top of the pops, which meant that I wasn't watching Adamant or Joe Dolce or something more stupid fun.
Joe Dolce, you went there.
That's what I wanted to hear. And Paul Weller and the Jam were doing some really serious stuff. And I was like, God, this is boring. Fuck it.
I tell you what, that's something that not many people have ever said about the Jam, is it? It's all right, but it's no shut up in your face.
That's the only time those two songs will be in the same bracket.
Exactly. So I kind of never was a big Weller fan from back then, and therefore it never carried through to his solo stuff. I wasn't going wicked Paul Weller's back. And I most of it passed me by in the 90s, if I'm honest. And so this wasn't a big deal for me at the time. This is the first time I've really dug into this album. Yeah. What about you, Dave?
Well, me, I was not really the big Weller fan. I mean, I like the Jam enough. Like a little bit of the Style Council here and there. I'd struggle to name you a lot of Style Council stuff, if I'm honest with you.
Sure.
This album, when it came out, I remember lead single, and I remember who this was selling to, and it wasn't really aimed at me at the time. That's why I was at, really. This isn't the kind of thing I was listening to. I was listening to a lot of dance music. I was listening to a lot of like American hardcore and kind of heavier stuff, really, and a lot of hip hop. I wasn't. This was kind of adjacent to the Britpop stuff that I wasn't really listening to at the time. But what about yourself, Mr. Wilson? I suspect you have a more storied history.
Up until recently, well, I'd say recently, but up until about 10 years ago or so, I was obsessed with Paul Weller.
Oh, right, okay.
I remember the first time, I remember where I was as well. I was in Brighton. I was up at the station. I was in the back of my dad's van, and it's where the car park is up at the station, round the back. That used to be waste ground. Like the whole of that area, that whole area was just like old, crumbled down warehouses and derelict buildings. The station was there. Some of the lanes were there, but the rest of it was
nothing at all.
Yeah, it was 1970s England, so it was all just. We were still rebuilding from the war. It was all still a bit fucked.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting in the back of my dad's van, and he had the radio on, and I heard "Eton Rifles" for the first time by the Jam.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have only have been 7, so I wouldn't have understood it. But it was, for some reason, I just went, I really like that as a child.
Your ear just picked it up.
Yeah.
Wow, what is this?
It was just something about it, and it was from that moment. Just Paul Weller was always in my life. So the Jam. I remember when the Jam broke up, it was on the news.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Yeah, in 1982. And then I remember my dad recording the radio, and off it was, and on there we had, it was Let's Dance, David Bowie, and the Style Council's first single, Speak Like a Child.
Right, yeah, it was 83.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's going on. So I love that, and so Paul Weller was like a through line through my life.
Oh, nice.
And then the Style Council sort of famously, the last Style Council album was a house music album.
Was it?
Yeah. It got later released, but at the time, the record label just went, "We're not having this. This is garbage."
Wow.
Binned the album, and just went, "No, not out." So by the late 80s, early 90s, no label, record industry turned their back on him. It was like he was done. It was finished. It was over.
Yeah.
So then came his first solo album. So he had nothing to lose. I know people. There's a guy I know called Matthew Strowger, who's Brighton. He's Brighton-based, lovely fella, and he went to see one of Paul Weller's first solo gigs.
Okay.
There must have been 8 people stood there in this little room.
Jesus.
No one was there. No one gave a fuck. And he came out and was just blasting out this incredible music, which was an amalgamation of everything that had influenced him up until that point. So he was always a big Small Faces fan. He was always a big Northern Soul fan. He was always, but then he's always got his eye on what's coming up next. So round about the late 80s, early 90s, it was all kind of acid jazz. So you had the early, like Brand New Heavies were kicking about, Jamiroquai early stuff that was kicking about. Yeah, Galliano, all of that was all around. So that was influencing him as well. So when you listen to Paul Weller's first solo album, that is a man we're not giving a fuck. Just going, right, I need this to work. But he's not tied to anything. I think it was on Go Discs.
It was on the Go Discs. Yeah, it was on this little label. And to me, that album, that to this day is still my favourite Paul Weller album, because it's a man that just gathered up everything he knew, everything he had, and just pumped it into this one record, and it just went boom. And then
the self-titled one.
Yeah, and even on the front,
92.
92, yeah. Even on the front cover, he looks the bollocks.
I can picture it's the white cover, isn't it, and him in the suit.
He's got this like frilly shirt on with these like really like 1960s pinstripe trousers. So there's a 60s vibe going on there, and it's everything he's ever had. And he's gathered it all up, and he's whacked it into this album, and then from that then led into Wildwood, and then Wildwood is where everybody just went. Well, firstly, that first solo album, everyone went, "Holy shit, what the fuck is this?" And it was called his first solo single was by the Paul Weller Movement. It wasn't even Paul Weller.
Okay.
So if you've got a copy of that on 7-inch, that's worth a couple of quid. I did have it, but I lost it in the great vinyl purge of 2006. Anyway, that's another story for another time. So you've got Wildwood. And everybody went mad. Wildwood just blew up, as you know.
That was a big deal.
Yeah. That was when everyone went, he's back, he's having it, this is brilliant. And then from that came Stanley Road. And Stanley Road came at the pinnacle, the peak of Britpop, Oasis, and everyone around was citing Paul Weller as a huge influence.
And this is the thing. The time was right.
The time was
to
right.
Be kind of resurrected. The whole Modfather thing.
Yes,
the fact that he's teaming up with Noel Gallagher, that sort of stuff, and the Noel Gallagher and that ilk, all those early Britpop bands, they were mad into the Jam. They were fucking huge Weller fans from that. The influence is so clear. That in '95 when he puts this out, it's the perfect time.
There's never been an album more perfectly timed.
He was ready to go. Oh, my children, thank you for bringing me back. Bam.
And the mod influences were there. Like if you look at Blur around the Modern Life is Rubbish era, which is what, 93?
Yes.
That when you look at them, and there's a mod kind of skinhead vibe coming through. So the mod thing was happening, which then escalated into which became Britpop, and then Oasis turned up, and then it all just kicked off, and like the third phase of the mod revival started, and there he was. Paul Weller was like the king of it.
Oh, absolutely. And like you say, the acid jazz stuff that he was into at the time. If you look from 91, 92, 93, that was on the up, and whenever in 94, 95, there were people like the James Taylor Quartet who were very cool among those indie bands as well. They didn't necessarily sound like what those indie bands were doing, but they were big fans of that style and the look and all of those things. So it all kind of got swept up at this point. 95 was a real just bam, there you go.
The beautiful thing about that era as well with the acid jazz stuff was that it was an amalgamation of like there was a bit of mod, there was a lot of hip hop, and that's why the fashion that came along, like Duffer of St George and things like that, there was like a hip hop mod sort of crisscrossover vibe. So you were wearing Adidas Superstars, but with like a bootleg jean, but with a denim jacket all buttoned up, and your hair was just so there was a real mixture of stuff that came together at that point.
And when you say you were wearing that?
I couldn't afford it at the time.
No, okay.
No, I couldn't afford Duffer of St George at that point. I remember trying to get a pair of Adidas Superstars at the time, and it just didn't have that sort of money.
You're getting
the thing is, though, you could back then you could pick up a pair of Puma suede for about 20 quid.
You could, yeah.
Stick on some fat laces. Big pair. What we used to do is, I mean, I was more of the.
So now we're getting Dave back into the conversation, isn't it? We went off for a bit, and now we're doing trainers.
Talking about trainers.
But look, man, I was more on the. You know, there was a bit of a crossover between skateboard fashion and. You know, it was...
See, that's it. It was skateboard, it was mod, it was hip-hop. There was all that came into, like I say, with the Duffer St George stuff.
Well, this is it. You know, like the acid jazz, it was always very put together. Like you say, it's very precise. Whereas the skate was a little bit more like, you know, just thrown together a little bit. But, I used to have like the old kind of, the Puma suedes. And then what we used to do is we used to go to C&A.
Yeah.
And we used to buy size 40 waist corduroys, right? Because corduroys, you could double over the thing and stick them up with a belt or a bit of rope.
Yeah.
You'd pull them really tight, and then you had the baggiest trousers you'd ever seen. Get a pair of scissors around the bottom and just chop them out.
Wow,
mate.
But that's I mean, we hung out when I was wearing.
Huge trousers.
And that was back when a size 40 waist was a massive waist, and now that's just my fucking waist.
Yeah. I was going to say, those are tight now.
Yeah.
So it's funny though, when now I'm older, and you're kind of looking at because as you get older, you kind of start to realise that you can't go full. Whatever's really fashionable now, you can't be dressing in that stuff. You look like a wanker. You look like a tragedy waiting to happen. So you're looking at like what you do, what does look good on you. And I'm telling you, I'm actually sort of edging back towards that.
Oh, okay.
That kind of acid jazz, hip hop,
You take it
skateboard
back
kind of
in.
look.
Interesting.
Well, the thing is, like, I've got that joke. I opened with it for years, and it's kind of come full circle a little bit. And it's got like I've kind of been dressing like this since the 90s, pretty much. I'm wearing like Dickies cords at the minute and baggy t-shirts, and my jackets have started to look like an undercover cop at a skate park. Do you know what I mean? Right? But now all of these kind of Carhartt and all the stuff that I wear has become fashionable again, and there's part of me that goes. A kid's looking at me going, look at this old twat trying to look fashionable.
You know what? I think there's something else as well. Is that I mean, you're all right because you're much younger than I am, but I'm at an age now that I can't just wear any old kind of like Carhartt. I can't wear a boiler suit. I look like I'm going to work. It just doesn't work.
Than you, Rich.
Yeah, and I turned 50 this year.
Happy birthday.
Thank
there
you.
you go. All right, fair enough.
And I turned 50 this year.
Yeah, the end of the year.
What a time to be alive, lads.
Yeah,
We're going down together.
Right, look, anyway, back on track. Let's get back into this episode.
Sorry.
We always start in the same place. We always look at the album cover. And don't apologise. You've got a fucking lot of background now. That's why you're here, filling the gaps that maybe me and Krister don't have on this one. Pre-warn you in advance, obviously, Rich, you're coming at this with a lot of love for this record, and we're coming at this naive. So you may hear some things that you don't want to hear. But,
do you know what? I understand that, you're either into him or you're not. And I mean, I came away from it all, like the mod thing and that years ago. So I found it really limiting. Like, they're like, you can't listen to this and you can't wear that and you can't.
It was a very kind of
and
gatekeeping.
and you're going, go fuck yourself. I want to listen to whatever I want to listen to. And the thing is, the ironic thing is that when you listen to Paul Weller talking in interviews, he listens to everything. He's not just stuck in like one groove of music. He's like every genre.
If he's putting out a house album,
he's putting out all sorts. Enough. He's doing like at the minute. There's a new album of covers that he's just done. I came away from him years ago because it just kind of his music was going in one direction, I was going in another. Sure. I don't turn around and go, "Hey, it's shit now," which is what a lot of people do. I just go, "It wasn't for me." Got to 22 Dreams and I think Wake Up the Nation and I went, yeah, that's cool. But then I just could just feel I was coming away. Maybe I was just going in a different place. And
that's what happens.
But people are obsessed with him still. And like he could shit into a fucking trumpet and blow it all over someone's house and they'd go, that's the best thing I've ever heard.
You say that. I think that's one of the Enigma albums we reviewed. Look, right, the thing is, I've always thought there is an irony, though, isn't there, about a genre called modernism that is so succinctly stuck in like the same 3 years.
Yeah,
the
60s. Irony is.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because modernists, what's a modernist listen to these days? Like experimental drum and bass, probably, or something like that.
This is the thing. So I was talking to a few people that would class themselves as modernists.
Right.
And like Ian Moore, who's an author now, he used to be a comedian, now he's an author. There's Martin Davis, there's a few others. What's his name who did The Hobbit? Martin Freeman, he's a mod. Yeah. And Eddie Pillow as well, and all those people. They like a MacBook would be a modernist thing. Your iPhone, the music that you listen to, it's all in there. The modernist stuff, like like true mods came away from mod in the late 50s, early 60s, when it went mainstream and became like people fighting on the beaches and all quadrophenia. Yeah, everyone was like, the true mods had already turned their backs on it.
So it was already in the these hangers-on stage.
It's like punk. When punk ended up on the telly, punk was already done by the time it got to the mainstream. Right? Punk only lasted 6 months. It blew up. Everyone went, "What the fuck is this?" And then singles came out, and it became part of fashion. And then punk morphed into the new wave. So punk wasn't around that long. So people talk about punk now, and you go, "Yeah, it wasn't around for longer than 5 minutes." But it changed stuff. It kicked the doors open. And
it existed before Green Day.
But this album, Stanley Road, it's a man at the peak of his powers. He'd proved everybody wrong. He just come out all guns blazing with his first solo album. This is the peak of that, because after that, when he had Heavy Soul, and then it went into, I can't remember which way around it was. It was Heliocentric and then Illusions. He started to become more experimental, and I think he started to lose more of his mod fan base.
He definitely did. There's interviews with him going, he wanted to try different stuff, and he found people, the record company especially, going, whoa. Yeah. But he did find people going, that's not what I want from Paul Weller. Yes, and I'm sure he was fine to shed those fans because he doesn't.
Well, he'd already proved the point with this album. Stanley Road was massive.
This was
even to down to the album artwork is done by Peter Blake, who did Sgt. Pepper.
Yes, well, that's where we're going to go next. Hold that thought. That's a good segue. So we always start with the album cover. Now, obviously, there's two versions of this album. There's and we'll talk about the original, because there's the original, which is obviously the picture of the young lad, the painting of the young lad in front of Stanley Road with the picture underneath, and then there's the 10th anniversary edition, which is that in the centre and more of a collage of pictures through Weller's youth. Which I don't particularly like that one particularly. I think it's a bit messy. But what do you think of this album cover, Krister?
I think you can see what Peter Blake, if you look at the collage one, what he's trying to do, he's putting all the influences in there. Weller's gone. What do you want in there? He's got the Stax logo. He's got some old soul stuff. He's got pictures of his family. He's got some little figurines of the small faces. It's like let's make a diorama of your likes. I don't particularly think it's an amazing looking thing, but I get what he's trying to do. I understand it. Like, if you are looking at it and you are a Weller fan, you're like, oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah, but that's the 10th anniversary version, isn't it? The original was just
just the Stanley Road. Yeah. I mean, that's very boring to me.
I think the paint in itself, like with the kid and the thing, I think that's a really striking image and a really good album cover. The thing I've always had a question about is the decision to put the picture of the modern Weller's face, the photograph there in the middle. I just never understood why you put that in the middle of that composition.
It's probably
always seemed out of place to me. But.
Might have been a record label thing where they go like, we need to have your face on the front of this somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's like compromise. He's gone, right, well, we'll do it this way.
Possibly.
Because you know what it's like. It's like with what we do. The people that aren't creatives have this idea of what they think things should look like, and they go, well, we want, because at the end of the day, they want to make money.
No, they're business.
Yeah, it's just business. So they're going, oh, just Carl, just whack your face on in the middle, have Paul Weller written across the top of it, and go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Whereas so they probably had a back and forth, and then he's gone, right, look, all right, compromise. Let's do it this way.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Well, we'll tell you what. Whatever reason they did, it didn't affect the sales, because this is still his biggest selling album. This is his most successful album. It was only number one for 1 week. But it was number one, which is why that we are discussing it. It was only really a hit in the UK, which isn't necessarily very surprising. It didn't do fuck all in the States. It got to number 18 in Holland, it got number 37 in Sweden, but those are the next highest chart placings that this album got. So it's not like he was like, taking on the world. He was just UK based.
Yeah. I think he does well in Japan. I think he's got a big fan base in Japan.
I can definitely believe that for sure. But it wasn't the new Oasis and suddenly everyone was into Paul Weller across Europe. It was very UK and, I will say, probably quite England based, because that's what he does.
I do remember it being, I remember going to see him at Victoria Park. This would have been 1998. And it was Paul Weller. It was Ian Dury. It was Ian Dury's last gig, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Finley Quay, Top Loader were on, Rialto were on. And Noel Gallagher turned up to jam a few tunes. Yeah. It was an event. It was a really hot summer, and the park was packed. Yeah, like there was thousands of people there. So he was massive. In
absolutely huge for a while. Absolutely huge for a while. But this was the peak. Yeah. Like you say, the next albums didn't sell as well, and he was also trying different stuff.
Yeah.
So this was kind of pinnacle sales, and I'd say typical Weller, perhaps.
This would have, and this is when he, after the next 2 albums after this one, 3 albums after this one, that's when he parted ways with Steve White, who was his drummer from the Style Council. Yeah.
Who is an amazing drummer.
He's an incredible drummer. I've been to his house.
Damn.
And he's got, in his garage, he's got his drums all set up. He's got his drum room. Yeah. And we went out and he was just rattling around. And I just had a moment where I'm like, this is, if you're a religious person, I don't want to be that kind of person, but because Steve White was such a big deal to me, to be stood in his drum room watching him play drums,
that's crazy,
is next to godliness.
That's fucking crazy, man.
It was incredible.
And this is the thing, I remember reading at the time about Steve White, and I think I really only knew who he was because Alan White, his brother, became the drummer in Oasis. Yeah. And they went, that's Steve White's brother is the guy that does for Weller. And everyone was going, but Steve White has been around for years and he's incredible. And I started watching anytime I saw something happening. I was like, he is just great.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Okay. Right, well, look, that's a nice little bit of background, but shall we crack into some music?
Let's do it. So this is track number 1. This is called Changing Man.
And so this was the second single released. But it's the one that came out just before the album. We got to number 7, which is the highest placing of all the singles off here. And he'd had top 20 singles before. Some got hung up, but this was his very first top 10 solo single.
So look, I mean, this is a solid old stomp out straight out of the gate, isn't it, really? Weller in this kind of husky cowboy mode. And like for someone who's so distinctly associated with this kind of fundamental Englishness, this sounds like quite an American sound.
Oh, do you feel that kind of accent? A bluesy.
I feel this kind of country, kind of rock, kind of feel coming out of this.
Okay, all right.
So I was surprised at this sound. I mean, I'm not that surprised. I know this song, obviously, but I'm like, this is quite. I mean, obviously we're in that kind of blues.
But he found his voice at this point. Like when you listen to him in the jam, it's very kind of punk, kind of like as it was back then. And then he went into the Style Council, which was very soulful. And then by the time he got to this, it was an amalgamation of everything. Like I already said, so now he'd found his soul, his soul voice, and that's why you've got this. Like he's properly singing. This is a really good voice, So this is listening to him now. He's really he's into it and he's singing it as he means every word, and you're going, this is it, man, this is it. This is a man that has achieved. He won at this point, you know.
Right.
After all the shit that he'd gone through, the record company's binning him off. People not giving a fuck about him. Now he's just, everyone loves him, and he's just fucking having it. And this is where this, I think this is him at his peak.
Yeah, fair.
And
yeah.
it's funny because I sent this to Dave earlier, and I went, "Are you aware of this? Because this is actually an ELO track."
Oh, absolutely. I've got it ready to play in case anyone doesn't know it. Because I didn't know that until I was reading up on this.
Yeah.
I didn't realise this. But essentially this is... And there's the guy who produces this album is someone called Brendan Lynch.
Yes.
And he's done all of Weller's solo stuff up to this point. And he also did some remixes, which is one of the first things I heard. And I imagine that all the weird sounds on this song are Brendan Lynch.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, he loves putting in these effects and he's kind of swirling bits.
All the interludes that you get in
really
between the
works
songs
nicely.
is Brendan Lynch.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And so whenever I read about, this is a complete lift of an ELO song. I tried to read up a little bit about it. And Weller essentially says, that was Brendan's idea. Brendan Lynch is on record as going, I knew it was blatant, but I said to Paul that we're going to do this, and if anyone comes after us, they can take it out of my half of the writing credit, because this is the only other song that Brendan Lynch is credited as writing on the album. But I was like, I was reading this going, it must be similar, but it's probably not the same. And here is ELO's 10538 Overture. And it's exactly the same. I imagine it is an actual sample that Weller then played live himself, but I imagine that the bit on the record is just a clip that they have used. Because it's the same song. Of course it is. But I'll tell you what, I also then read someone saying, it is. It's exactly the same. But if you go backwards, it also sounds like Dear Prudence.
Yeah, absolutely.
And therefore, it sounds like a few things.
It's Beatles all the way through.
But there's a song that I'd never heard before called Flying by the Faces. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I know
and someone was going, it's also a bit of a lift from that. So maybe, and that was pre-ELO. And so it's not exactly the same, but you can go... Right, so this is the Faces Flying from 1970, I think. And the ELO one's 72. And you can also go, all right, I hear that too.
Yeah.
And so, yes, it's lifted from ELO, but did Jeff Lynne also take it from somewhere else?
This has also been covered by, I don't know if it was covered by or was the original, Long John Baldry.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah.
Also did Flying.
Did he do ever?
Yeah,
right,
and I'm not sure, because that's early 70s as well. So it's all been mashed in.
The snake eats its tail.
Yeah.
That's what goes on here, man. It's an incestuous world where everyone's got the same haircut. Right,
yeah. But it's funny, because I hadn't heard the ELO one. I was at a party. So I've got two of my best friends, Andy and Gav. I've known them 20 years now, 20 odd years. And we met at a mod club. They were in a band called Maker, and they turned up. They're very sort of Black Crows mod kind of. It's brilliant. And I remember watching them, and I'm like, fuck, I want to be friends with them. And we became really good friends. And we were at a party one day, and they played me that. Andy took me to one side, and he went, have you heard this?
Right.
And I went, holy shit, mate. Because to me, The Changing Man was the ultimate Paul Weller song. It was just the video, everything. He looks the bollocks. The song's perfect. I fell in love with that song. I played it to death in 1995. And then he played me that, and I went, fuck.
Right.
What?
It's not his song.
I'm done.
This song, I mean, look, outside of all of its influences, taking the song as it is.
Yes.
For me, this is a fairly meat and potatoes kind of blues rock song. It kind of beat for beat does what you want it to do.
Right.
Verse, chorus, kind of solo, bridge, bang, outside. But I tell you what, it's a fucking tune.
Oh, I think it's brilliant, this song.
Yeah, this is excellent.
Really good.
I absolutely love this, man.
Did you like this at the time? Did you know this?
Do you know what? I think I heard this and didn't mind it, and then kind of went, it's that, and I just wasn't interested in this oof. I was,
sure.
And you knew me at the time.
Oh, mate, you
I
wouldn't
was
have liked
so
it at all.
disinterested.
You were the other side
and repulsed
entirely.
by Britpop that anything, in my snarky kind of mid-20s self, I was early 20s.
But this
20s.
is a fucking banger.
But this is fucking brilliant, man.
Really
it's a toe
is.
tapper. I
Yeah.
think you mentioned his voice. His voice is fucking brilliant on this. It's like the depth and the gravel on it. And again, one of these tracks as well. I've listened to this. I've been doing a lot of work in my garage this week, so I've had this on in the background, and I had it on today on the headphones for the kind of as I generally do the final listen on the headphones. And again, so much in the production that the headphones really give this.
The boop, 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 boop bits,
There's a lot to this. I mean, absolutely well deserved to be like a big single, the top one. Really kind of nice deep groove throughout it. As I say, not breaking a lot of new ground, but certainly, certainly from what I kind of feared I might be coming into with this record. It's not that. I wasn't expecting to like any song on this album as much as I like that song.
Fair.
So that's already a win.
I first became aware of it there was a TV show, do you remember The White Room?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which to this day, and they really should bring it back, it's one of the greatest music shows.
Is that Mark Radcliffe?
Mark Radcliffe.
Yeah.
And it was where you'd get Damon Albarn with just sitting down with what's his name, Ray Davies from the Kinks,
right?
and just people they put together strange people you wouldn't see together normally, and then old clips of like Sly and the Family Stone, and then this and that. They have Björk on there playing live, and then they had on this was a particularly good one because they had Oasis playing. They first played Acquiesce and It's Good to Be Free on there. And then Paul Weller and Noel Gallagher sat down and did Talk Tonight.
Right, yeah.
So Paul Weller was on piano, Noel Gallagher on guitar. And then Paul Weller got up and launched into The Changing Man. And everyone was
Really?
just like, what the
Goosebumps.
Fuck, yeah.
I
Even
see.
now I'm like, fuck. And
I wonder if that clip is online somewhere.
Oh, it'd be online somewhere. I think I've still got the VHS tape.
Wow.
Yeah, I've still got it. Because I played it to death. It was the perfect show. Everything on it. Bobby Womack and Damon Albarn. People like that. It was incredible.
Together at last.
It was great. and then they played The Changing Man, then segued into Porcelain Gods as it does on the album.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that whole thing live in the studio. And Paul Weller just at the bottom. He had this black Smedley top on. Long sleeve button.
I thought they had to wear white on the White Room. Was that not?
No.
I'm remembering that bit wrong.
And then
you're thinking of the KKK.
Yeah, that's a different
Again.
White Room.
Yeah.
So that cemented his status as just the king of it all. Because he looked the bollocks, sounded the bollocks. Everyone was just in awe of him.
It's literally two people could get away with that kind of coat. It's like him and Prince, isn't it? But Prince's would have been purple. Anyway, right, so it's fair to say...
It's like the haircut as well. I had that haircut for 10 years.
Oh.
No one told me it didn't suit me.
Oh, no.
Till I got my haircut and I put a picture up online of my new quiff and the place went mental. I remember my ex-wife now, she goes, fucking hell. She goes, I didn't realise that a haircut could cause such distortion.
Paul McCaffrey's still got it, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Very much.
Right, anyway, look, so we're three. I mean, all of us are pretty
that is
on that song, I would say.
Song.
Yeah.
Terrific, absolutely.
All right, so you mentioned it already. Second track, it's called Porcelain Gods.
Part 1, apparently.
Talking God on the porcelain toilet.
I know, that's the first thing I thought.
That's what I thought, yeah.
See, you fucking heathens.
So, it's a little low-slung, little bluesy riff here coming in now, isn't we?
And this is a song about him and his celebrity status.
Yeah.
And the fact that, whatever he is isn't necessarily what people think he is. And so he's saying he is the porcelain god, but he shatters when he falls, so he's admitting his flaws.
Yeah, absolutely.
So musically, we're very much in that kind of that's if we're talking about like synonyms for this, like we're in that kind of white boy blues kind of come together-esque kind of territory, aren't we? Right. That's the song that's immediately referenced to me.
That hadn't popped into my head, but I absolutely see what you're saying about it.
But I think there's I think this is quite nice actually. I think there's some like really interesting drama that goes through the vocals here. You've got this little accent piano that kind of comes in and the guitars that drop in. I think this is for me a very well done song. Probably not something I would be I would immediately choose to listen to. But, you know, you got that... When Tommy gets this middle eight that comes through in a little while, with the kind of... We mentioned the drummer earlier.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, he's a force to be reckoned with, isn't he?
Oh,
And
it's so good.
the really super simplicated bass and the guitar that goes along with it. I think I admire this, appreciate this song more than I like it, but I am surprised by how much I appreciate it.
Oh, I see, okay.
I think it's a very well put together song. It's not quite enough of a tune maybe for me.
Yeah.
But I really like 2 tracks in. I'm really enjoying the grit in his voice.
Right, I see. I mean, and I have to remind myself that at the time he's like 38.
Yeah.
He sounds like he's 50 at this point, singing these songs. But yeah, he's a relatively young man still at this point. I know he's had a career of 20 years, but yeah, he's still.
But he was always
mid-30s.
He's always an old soul. When you look
yeah.
at the old interviews of him from the Jam, when you look back then, he's like 19, 20, or however old he was,
Yeah.
younger than that even. You know, he's talking like he's on about Thatcher and he's on about this, and he's an angry young man. And,
Oh yeah, so he's very serious.
Yeah.
And that's one thing
yeah.
I do find about, or in my head about Paul Weller, is that I can't imagine him having fun. You know, even if he's having the best time alive on stage playing these tunes and loving everything, I still in my head I'm going, oh, cheer up, mate.
He has fun when he's playing his music. That's
sure
when he
he
has his
does.
fun. Now because I know Neil Jones, who's the lead singer of Stone Foundation, and they've been doing a lot of stuff with him over the last couple of years.
Okay, yeah.
He's been producing their albums. They've been doing it in his studio, Black Barn, which is near Woking in Ripley. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to Neil, and he said Weller will just wander in, and while they're doing something, and he'll just come in and go, "Oh yeah, I can hear a bit of piano on that, Jonesy," and just sits down and just goes, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So Paul Weller is in his happy place when he's playing music. The rest of the time, he couldn't give a fuck. There's even an interview recently of him going, "I just want to make my music. If everyone just fuck off and leave me alone."
I see.
Yeah.
I mean, he deserves that. If that's what he wants, that's fine. You know, you make your own. Make your own world around it. But
he just wants to do his tunes.
I can't, you know, some musicians I can picture going, having fucking smiling and laughing while a recording's going on, and in my head he's straight faced the entire time.
There's a brilliant.
But I'm probably wrong.
Well, there's a brilliant story of he doesn't drink now either. So he's not drinking, not smoking. He does yoga and he's cleaned himself up.
Yeah.
And there's a brilliant story that Noel Gallagher tells of like they were doing something. Was it Noel Gallagher? Maybe Bobby Gillespie? Maybe someone like that. Paul Weller walked in and he picks up his guitar and he just goes, bah, he just gets into it. And they're all sort of playing along with him and he's just going, bah, and he's really thrashing around. This is when at the peak of his drinking and drugs and whatever else he was doing. And then after about a couple of minutes, he stops because he realised everyone else has stopped playing. And all the carpet is in between his feet, just all rucked up on the floor. And he's just like, what the fuck?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Where he's just gone, just lost it. He's just lost it in the music.
Wow. And, you know, I have nothing but respect for that. I absolutely do. I must admit, though, I do find this song here a little bit dull. I find it's a bit meandering. It doesn't do it for me. I like the sentiment. I like that whole thing about him going, you know, the stuff you hate about me, I hate that too.
Yeah.
I am only human. I'm just a normal person. I do like all of that. But tune-wise, I'm like, nah,
the thing
middle
is,
of the road.
The thing is, with this, speaking as someone who, you know, did love this album, to be honest, I've not listened to it. It was only on the way in, I'm like, I've not listened to this in years. I think because I kicked the arse out of it when it came out.
Yeah, sometimes you have to step away.
And I just haven't listened to it for a long time. But what I think the thing is with the first 3 tracks on this album, they really come as one piece.
Well, they do all go into each other. You're absolutely right. So I've stopped it here, but
because then it goes into
does. Well, quite often, whenever I was listening to that one, Porcelain Gods, it would get to a point, and I go, "Oh no, maybe I do like this because I kind of like this riff," and then I'd realise I was listening to the next song. Well, shall we just go into track number 3 then, which is "I Walk on Gilded Splinters"?
Yeah.
And so, if you had just played it through,
the whole thing from beginning to this point, it's what they are. It is really one piece.
Yeah. And this one is, and I hadn't heard this before. This is a cover of a Dr. John song.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, from the album Gris Gris.
Right. Yeah, it was like one of his big signature tunes.
Yeah.
And I only listened to that version, the Dr. John version, after this as well.
Well, I hadn't heard the Dr. John one until I'd heard this.
Right, no, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, it's like, this sounds kind of familiar, but maybe it's just that woozy feel. I get the whole vibe he's going for on this.
Well, he's got
That real
that. Yeah,
swampy.
that's it. I mean, if you listen to the album, the Dr. John, we listen to Dr. John stuff. It's very, as you've said, like swampy, that voodoo blues,
Yeah,
New
exactly.
Orleans kind of. You can feel the heat from the swamp. You
Yeah.
can feel the sticky streets of New Orleans, and so there's that. And I think that's what he was striving to hang on to with this song. Because if you listen to the original, listen to that whole album, it is that.
Sure.
Listen to all
That's
of
what he
Dr.
does.
John's stuff. It's all snake's heads and
Yeah.
crow's feet.
Oh, very much so.
So yeah.
But yeah, no, I think this. I mean, I'm only going to talk about Weller's version at this point. I think this has a bit of a swagger to it.
Yeah.
I like the bass line that just crawls along, keeps on going. And Steve White again on drums is keeping it really tight.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of bits where he gets a flourish here and there. It's lovely. I think this is really cool.
Yeah.
I love the feel of this song.
That's amazing.
It's
Loved
interesting.
it.
Because I took against this on the first
I see,
listen.
okay.
I took against it on first listen. I think I found the name a bit annoying.
Okay.
And obviously I wasn't really aware. I wasn't aware it was a cover when I first started listening to
me
it.
neither.
But again, on a couple of listens, it's got some hooks. This song, and it really started to dig those into me. And I think there are some really dirty little grooves in this.
Yeah,
that
I agree.
But again, particularly on the headphones.
Oh, right, yeah.
There's some pretty spectacular drumming throughout this as well.
There is, yeah. I mean, this is a 5.5-minute song, and a lot of it is instrumental. It's just a kind of jamming along, and it's more of the feel of the whole thing. And yeah, they do get their time to just give it a bit of a go. Steve White does get a lovely little opportunity to go, check this shit out.
It's quite interesting because for me, this with 3 tracks in now, and this plays quite close to. There's like a tradition in music, I think, where musicians come out and they do something like quite cool, quite interesting. And because musicians are musicians, they get very interested in musicianship.
Yes.
And, I'm talking about people like Sting, Clapton, people like that.
Sure, yeah.
And you kind of get into this kind of adult rock, this adult oriented rock, and it can. We've dealt with some of it in the podcast, of course, things can there's a very thin line between musicians in a studio entertaining themselves with how good and how clever everyone is at playing.
That's jazz.
And people writing. Well, that is very much that. But then also writing. And so far, 3 tracks in, this has managed to play. I can see where it's close to that, but it's playing on the right side of it for me. So
Right,
far.
sure.
So yeah.
Well, I think just the Hammond organ in the background there, and as you say about, this, listen to Steve White's drumming, like he's one of the greatest drummers in the world. Even though he's doing what he does, as you've already pointed out, there's a subtlety to it.
Oh yeah,
It just weaves it all together.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
really that deftness of touch. He's not just smashing into the drums. There's it's precision.
Oh, very
and
much
it's
so.
Beautiful.
Every little roll
Yeah.
is so tightly done. This is also the one that has Noel Gallagher on acoustic guitar on it as well. And to be honest, I can't hear where that is in this overall mix, but he's in there somewhere. That's fine. And yeah, I think this is a really terrific tune.
Yeah.
After having subsequently heard the Dr. John version, I think I do prefer the Dr. John version because it is filth.
Yeah.
It's fucking great. But I think as a decent cover, I think this is well worth it.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with
I
it.
think it's great. I saw Dr. John at he was at Heathrow Airport.
Oh God!
And I was just walking through with my bags, and those those cart things that beep beep as they weave through.
Oh yeah.
So we all moved out of the way, and this one it went past. As it went past, Dr. John was sat on the back of it, he was facing me, but he's going away from me. So he sat on it facing backwards, and he had his big cane and his big hat, and he was just sat like that, like he was on a throne.
That's brilliant.
And
Well,
I went, that is
fantastic.
Dr. fucking John, man.
Wow.
Exactly how you would imagine to see him.
I love it.
Just this
On a golf
dude. Yeah, but the way he was sat,
yeah.
it was just next level.
That's very cool.
Mate, amazing. Right, okay, well, let's do track number 4. I mean, I don't suppose there's many of us that haven't heard this song. This one's called You Do Something to Me.
Oh, this is there's been so many first wedding songs, I imagine.
I imagine so.
Have been this song.
Yeah, exactly. This is, a couple. This is our song, gazing into each other's eyes. Yeah. And like you say, you've heard this at the time.
Yeah.
You heard this at the time. What did you think of it at the time?
I mean, I kind of wasn't really paying attention to this song.
No,
at the
but
time.
it was there.
It's like, this is the kind of song that would have, I wouldn't have given really a great deal of mind. I'd have gone, oh yeah, this is, this is another kind of plinky ballad, love song, blah blah blah. I'm more interested in angry music, right?
Yeah.
So this song I've not really paid a lot of mind to. It's been fairly ubiquitous. Kind of vaguely reminds me of the Stereophonics, which is probably not the best of things to say about it. But it's not a song I'm going to be blasting from my van stereo anytime soon.
No.
But if we go down to the brass tacks of it, is it a brilliantly written song? Then, well, yeah, it is.
Right.
It's kind of.
Sure.
It's not
even this bit from Phantom of the Opera.
Dun, 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 dun. It's it's a little bit the wrong side of dad rock for me, but the voice sounds great, and
this guitar solo's a bit. I don't like this guitar solo.
Yeah,
but because I find this is a little bit Pink Floyd. I don't like Pink Floyd.
Oh, it is a bit as well. I don't mind Pink Floyd, but I don't like this song at all. I think this is too worthy and too dull. This was the song that put me off Paul Weller.
Oh, really?
I bought the 7-inch of Changing Man. Really like that. Like I said, didn't buy the album, but then this was probably the next one I heard, because this was the third single in July of '95. And at this point, I think I went, oh, God, no. Because I do not like this one bit.
So, I don't mind it.
Right.
I don't mind it. It's kind of like... It's one of those things where I look at it and I go, yeah, I see what you've done here. You've written this, you've written Your Angels. Do you know what I mean?
Wonderful Tonight.
Yeah, it's one of those songs, isn't it, man? It's,
I really like it. It's funny. Again, I just kick the arse out of it. So I haven't listened to it for years, and so listening to it now, I'm like, oh, this is a tune. There is still some subtlety to it. That I think bands like Stereophonics sometimes lack. But I just don't like that guitar sound. It fucks me off.
I see.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I think his voice sounds fantastic on this as well. He's doing a lot with the nuance of the song. That this is obviously it's a very well written song.
Oh yeah.
But he's doing an awful lot of the heavy lifting with his voice.
Right.
In this, I think. But yeah, I'm not a massive fan of that kind of. Do you know what I mean? It's Nights in White Satin as well, isn't it? It's, do you know what I mean?
Which I love that tune. I love that song, Moody Blues. But yeah, no, it absolutely is. To me, this is a little bit. I think we mentioned it on the last one. This is Cuddle on the Couch. This is by numbers sort of thing,
yes,
and I don't like it.
I don't think it is. I understand. Yeah, it is by numbers. I think there's much in the same way as when we were talking about the Oasis. I think there is something about it that elevates it from the average, which prevents me from kind of kicking the shit out of it, basically. Because there is a very fine line between this song and something that I absolutely despise.
Well, I mean, we just did, Wet, Wet, Wet a couple of ones back, and that Love Is All Around song, you fucking hated that.
I fucking hate that song so much.
But there's a world apart between those two songs for me.
Is there? Right.
I think there is, and it all comes down to that vocal delivery.
Okay.
And the fact that it was written and curated, and it sounds like he means what he says. Do you know what I mean? That's where it is. I'm not going to be
authenticity is something I will never disparage Paul Weller for. I think he does mean it,
and that is part of the difference, because I don't think fucking Marty Pello's ever had a positive emotion in his life. Do you know what I mean? The only thing he's ever loved fucking comes in a needle. But well, there we go. So that's that one. Look, so let's take a quick break from Paul Weller now, and we will dig back into the albums.
Yes, we will. And I also want to point out at this point that I have, just because Paul Weller has been out of the spotlight a little while.
Oh no.
and I think it's time that he made a comeback. And I have got some
He's
proposals.
still around.
Oh yeah, but I think he deserves more. I think I've got some proposals here.
I tell you, Rich, there's some terrible jokes that are about to
some,
come out of this man's mouth. That's what's going to happen.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little pitch for some TV shows that I have thought that Paul Weller could come back for. And you know, I've got lots of these.
Yeah.
I'll do a few now.
I do know someone that's best mates with Paul Weller.
Oh well, you just pass this
So
on.
if he
if you wouldn't
listens
mind.
to this,
Great. Okay.
he'll come round our houses.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Well, what I've got,
Kick the shit out
I'll
of
do the first couple here. Paul Weller's Small Cellar, and it's a game show. And you've got to see how many parka jackets you can fit into the space underneath his house.
So it was seller Cellar.
Oh, yeah, small cellar.
Not small seller like he's a trader of insignificant proportions.
No.
I thought he might be selling the parkas.
eBay as a hobby.
Okay.
Tiny salesman.
So that's possible.
Okay. Yeah, good one. I like that one.
Paul Weller, the tall teller, and it's kind of like a would I lie to you thing.
Okay.
It's like a call my bluff where he just tells a load of lies, some tall tales, and you got to spot which ones are true.
Okay.
So Paul Weller, the tall teller, perhaps.
Okay.
Let's go. And the last one I'll do for now is Paul Weller's ball smeller. And for this one, you got a load of Jam fans blindfolded, and they have to sniff a row of testicles and see if they can pick out Paul Weller's particular musk. So Paul Weller's ball smeller is a winner.
Well, I've got an idea for one.
Please.
How about Weller than Paul Weller?
Oh,
where
yes.
Basically people go on a wellness retreat for a weekend.
Okay, yeah.
Then fill out the DSM-4, which is obviously the psychiatric evaluation form, and work out whether their mental health is better or worse than Paul Weller's.
And what if it is better, they don't get treatment? They have to be worse than him to actually get what they need.
Absolutely.
Oh, fair enough. This could help the NHS.
Yeah, it really could.
Great. Well, I'm glad we're all on board
lads.
with these.
Although it would be quite difficult though, because you'd have to get an accurate assessment. Because as we all know, he is a changing man.
Changing man.
Fucking hell, you crowbarred that in.
I really did, mate. Welcome to the podcast. Professional comedian Dave Fenson, everybody.
Right. Well, okay. Well, let's.
Sorry, Rich.
I'm loath to call him a colleague.
Absolutely. First of all, we're going to look at what the top 10 was in the week that this was number one, see what else was going on. And to be honest, a lot of these are ones that we've either done before or are just not even worth talking about. Yeah. But I'll go through. If you've got any opinions, let's go for it. Number 10, Annie Lennox, Medusa. Yeah, whatever.
It was all right. It was a good album. It was a big album.
It was a big album, huge album. Number 9 is Oasis, Definitely Maybe, which has come back into the charts because we're still in the bit before they've released the second album. So Definitely Maybe is back in the charts. Number 8 is Cranberries, No Need to Argue. Number 7 is Bruce Springsteen's Greatest Hits, and Bruce Springsteen's in the news at the minute, obviously.
He certainly is.
For the Donald Trump stuff.
Not really my cup of tea, Bruce Springsteen.
I would say,
yeah.
I wanted to get into Bruce Springsteen. I had a mate who was like a big fan. And I said to him, look, can you just do me a tape of what you think the best Bruce Springsteen songs are? Thinking that it was going to be some album cuts and some, songs I'd never heard before. And he basically just taped me the greatest hits. Because he was like, these are the best ones. I was like, well, I already like Dancing in the Dark.
What's that Prince? Prince only got like 4 good songs.
Go fuck yourself.
The rest is garbage.
I'm on your side.
Fuck
I'm
yourself.
on your side of this. I think
Absolutely go fuck yourself, Rich Wilson. Get off my fucking podcast.
Love Sexy is a good album.
No, it's not. That's not even a fucking top 5 album, you monk. What are you on about?
I didn't know that it was this easy. This is brilliant. Oh, we got a new podcast coming.
Right, number 6. So 6 is Celine Dion's Colour of My Love, and we had to do that one. We had to do a full episode on that.
I'd rather stand on my bollocks with fucking golf shoes
Krister
on,
likes
mate.
more of that album than you would fucking imagine.
God almighty, I can't
some
stand
of it is all right.
No disrespect to her, so she's a lovely person.
Sure.
She
won't be listening, mate,
Going through it. You never know, mate. You never know. But I can't stand her music. Can't stand her music.
No, I mean, I'm not a Celine Dion fan by any metric, but I did find myself going, that's not a bad song. Yeah,
she's still better than Prince, though.
Number 5 is Wet, Wet, Wet. Picture this. Again, we had to do that.
Do you know what? I've got that album.
Oh, wow.
I've got to say, when it came out, I did like it.
And there you go. And that's why all your opinions about Prince are absolutely without any commercial merit.
We did both agree that Julia Says was a good tune.
But not, Hannah, oh, God.
No, overall, we didn't like the album.
It's not aged well.
No, I would say I hated the album.
Number 4.
Actually, I didn't hate it as much as I hated the fucking other one. But
you know what? At the time, when that came out, I had people used to say that I look like Marty Pello because I had the same hair and everything. I'll show you a picture after this.
Because I was on heroin.
Yeah. I was really skinny. Didn't have any mates. Yeah, so that's
okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Number 4 is the Complete Stone Roses. That's a best of. Number 3 is Supergrass I Should Coco, which we are going to have to be doing in a few episodes' time.
I prefer Gaz Coombs' solo stuff to Supergrass.
Oh,
stuff.
interesting.
Yeah. Because that song, was it All Right?
All Right, yeah.
I fucking hate that song.
I see.
The lyrics, there's that bit where he just goes, we did something and then we hit a wall. It's just childish bullshit. It's horrible lyrics.
I see. We won't get you back on for that episode then.
Their later albums after that are better. But that I Should Coco doesn't do it for me.
Right.
I suspect that's going to be my opinion as well. But we'll see.
Well, we shall see. And then number 2 is Take That, Nobody Else, which was our last episode, which was the last Take That album before they did the split up and then reformed.
Yeah.
Many
Nobody Else. Is that the one? They all wearing
Back
beige. Oh.
It's Back for Good, Never Forget.
Yeah, that's the...
Sure.
There was a girl I was seeing, and she was really into them.
The all beige on the cover is the previous one.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the more popular
So then there's
one.
another one with Shure on it.
This is Shure.
Yeah.
I
remember that and they came out with the leather and the...
It's a bit more grown up.
Yeah.
All that stuff. That's that one.
Yes.
But yeah, that's our last episode, so anyone who missed that, you can go and listen to that.
Good singles, the rest of it's all filler.
Shure's a great song.
Shure's a great song, yeah.
And so... then we've also got some other albums that came out in this time period. And we've got 2 weeks we can look at because after Paul Weller was number 1, Alison Moyet's Greatest Hits went to number 1. So we've got a couple of weeks. The time period is May 21st to June 3rd of 1995. And some of these we can absolutely brush over. Salad released Drink Me, which was their debut album. Got to number 16.
About them.
Salad, I know.
Salad as well.
There were some really obscure bands back then. There was a band called Ruth. White Out.
Oh, White Out, I remember. They were on Creation.
Yeah, I've got that out. Bite It. That's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
I mean, they got signed to Creation basically just before Oasis took off, and then no one gave a shit.
Well, they were on
White
tour,
Out
weren't they, together? Oasis was supporting them.
Yep.
And halfway through, they had to swap round.
Very much so. Yeah. Naughty by Nature, they released Poverty's Paradise, got to number 20, and we've talked briefly a little bit about that because of one of the singles, but the album came out at this point. Got to number 20, which is decent for...
Yeah, I mean, it's
Naughty by Nature.
You say it was decent, but obviously it was, again... just discuss this a little bit. Don't want to repeat myself too much, but it was when you think about how stratospherically big in America 1993 was. Sure. It was quite a drop off, really, because Naughty by Nature are the band that straddled underground hip hop becoming commercial. They're the band that kind of did it first best, and then you got the real breakthrough. Look, when you start seeing Dre and things like that, that's when actual underground hip hop starts selling commercially. It starts doing really, really big units. And then once that bridge is broken, there's a kind of a perception that everything before it was a little bit watered down. Whereas if you listen to the first 2 Naughty albums, they are really, really solid underground hip hop records.
Right.
And I think...
But with a couple of hits on there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think somewhere in the mix... that gets diluted and they don't quite get their due. I'm a big Naughty advocate.
Oh, I know you're a big fan.
But Poverty's Paradise, in the mix of everything else that was coming out at the time, all the new stuff, this is an album that, I guess a lot of people did the same thing that I did, which was when, there was other stuff to look at, more exciting stuff to pick up. I've got 2 Naughty by Nature albums. What's going on with this? And, hip-hop is famous, for not really protecting its elders.
Yeah, very much so. Then we got White Zombie, released Astro Creep 2000, got to number 25. And again, we mentioned that a little bit. I really like that album. As I don't think I've ever bought another White Zombie album, but I got that one, and that's enough.
Yeah. There's only 2, really.
I suppose, because there was just Rob Zombie after that.
Well, yeah, it's 2. So you got that, you got Le Sexorcisto. I can't even fucking say it. Le Sexorcisto.
Yeah.
And, I've got a soft spot for Le Sexorcisto because it's got Thunder. It's got
Thunderkiss 65.
Thunderkiss, thank you. I think the second one is probably the better album.
Fun band, and that I do like that album. No, this one got to number 6. The Wild Hearts. Fuck, but PHUQ.
Yeah, couldn't give a shit. Yeah.
No, got to number 6. I don't remember it being that much of a hit.
They've had a bit of a resurgence lately. People are talking about
Ginger
Wild Heart.
Yeah, something new. Yeah,
yeah, and I've actually kind of gone back and started listening to their stuff from then. It's brilliant. It's really good.
I was never
I didn't give it the time of day at the time.
I see. You didn't at the time. You weren't either.
Didn't care.
No.
Weirdly, because some pals of us on another podcast, like our mate Gaz is a massive fan of the Wild Hearts. So and I've always, I knew him at the time, and I didn't like him at the time, and I've always been like kind of slagging him off a little bit. And he was telling me I should listen to the new album, and I went, you know what? I haven't listened to this for a long while, so I went back and listened to Earth vs. the Wild Hearts, which is, in theory, the classic album. And there's some bits in it that I like, but in the most part, for me, that mix of the pop hooks and the heavier stuff, a lot of people say that's what works about it. For me, it really doesn't.
No. Earthling released Radar, got to number 66, and we talked about this on the last one, and I've brought it up again because we got it a little bit wrong, because we were saying we thought it was produced by Jeff Barrow from Portishead. It's not produced by him. He is on it with on a couple of tracks, just doing some scratches, but it's produced by Earthling themselves.
Oh, okay.
But so it is just them.
Nice.
And also turns out that the rapper from Earthling went on to do some work with Dirty Beatniks, who did Wall of Sound, Big Beat.
Okay.
Yeah, which I didn't know that.
There you go.
So there you go. Everclear released Sparkle and Fade.
Everclear.
Yeah.
Never listened to them.
No, it's one of those ones that I remember coming out, but I couldn't.
They were one of those bands that it was like, for a while, they were just really big, and every time I heard it, I went, "Oh, this just sounds a bit anonymous."
Right. Yeah. It's one of those ones big in the States.
Yeah.
One of those.
It's probably in some teen movie somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah, sure. Primus released Tales from the Punch Bowl.
Primus.
And I don't remember that album.
Tales from the Punch Bowl, I remember. Yeah, Tales from the Punch Bowl is...
95.
It's the one with no, it's the one that came after the Brown album, I think.
Okay.
Or, no, did it come... I'm trying to remember, because it was Pork Soda, and then either Tales from the Punch Bowl and then the Brown album, or the other way around. I can't remember the chronology. I think it's possibly the fifth album.
It is Winona's Big Brown Beaver.
It is Winona's Big Brown Beaver.
So it's that album.
Yeah. I had a massive Primus phase before this came out, and then when this one came out, I'd been so intently listening to those 4 albums that, again... I just kind of, it
was like time had passed.
One of those things, Yeah. I remember that being a decent record.
I imagine, not having heard it myself, it sounds like a Primus album. You're not going to go very far off course.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it depends what you're into for Primus. I mean, I like Primus going off on tangents to a degree, but I kind of, I like song-based Primus. Like, I was listening to the Two Promoters One podcast the other day, and the guy said he had conversations with Primus being the headliner.
Oh, I see. Okay.
For this year, and I was chatting to my mate, and I was going, "Fucking hell, Primus bought a greatest hits set as a festival headliner.
Be incredible.
What a show that would be."
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen Primus do a lot of stuff, and the obviously the latest stuff is a lot more kind of prog heavy, and great and worthy, but less interesting to me. I want,
especially for live.
I want to hear the choruses.
Yeah, fine. Nine Inch Nails released Further Down the Spiral, which was obviously the remix album of the Downward Spiral. And then the last one I've got, and this one was released 30 years ago today. Low released Long Division, which was their second album.
Wow.
And so I'm a big Low fan. I didn't have that at the time at all, because I didn't know it was out. I had their first album, and I didn't even know they'd released this. It wasn't until a few years later that I was like, oh shit, there's a couple of albums I totally missed, because they weren't big in the UK. But this is a lovely album. If you like what Low were doing in that first 10 years of their career, this is a really nice one. So
the only one I really know is Great Destroyer, and that's
which is fantastic.
You copied it for me years ago,
brilliant.
It's a great record.
I mean, this is more along the lines. I mean, obviously, it's more along the lines of "I Could Live in Hope," which is their first one, and "Secret Name" and that kind of thing. It's very gentle, very sort of glacial, that sort of stuff. But I think it's some great tunes on there. They've not gone too experimental yet, so I'm still into it. It's a lovely album. It's really nice, and 30 years ago today.
Cool. All right. Okay. Is that everything from
That's all the albums I've got.
Well, let's dive back into the Weller pool.
All right. Look, we'll go back into Paul Weller's album, but just to explain to the listeners, you're probably going to hear a slight audio difference from here on, because we had to cut short our recording with Rich in the room last week because he had to go and do a show and we ran out of time. But we are back with Rich in Edinburgh. And so we're doing this online.
Yeah.
So, yes, you're probably going to hear a little bit different, but, hey, ignore audio quality. That's not what we're about. We're about actual
And even though nearly every podcast in the world seems to record online, you have no idea the amount of hassle this is caused.
Oh, Jesus Christ, yeah.
Like, you have no, I might do a little, if you stay till the end after the podcast, I'll do a little explanation as an Easter egg for the stuff that's gone on. But we are on a time limit, so let's crack on.
So, yeah, thank you very much again, Rich, for making time to do this. We are a third of the way through the Paul Weller album. So we're coming back with track number 5. And track 5 is Woodcutter's Son. Right. And this one features Steve Winwood on piano. Steve Winwood's been around forever, doing various things. And I did have a question that I was going to ask was, is he better in the 60s, when he was doing the Spencer Davis group, Keep On Running, I'm a Man, Give Me Some Lovin', etc., in the 70s when he did the Traffic stuff, or when he did basically Valerie and Higher Love in the 80s?
I mean, it's the 80s for me.
That's the one. That's the one for me. Did you know Shaka Khan was on backing vocals on Higher Love? And Nile Rodgers is on guitar.
Well, there you
I
go,
thought, you
mate.
can't beat that. That's brilliant.
Have you seen Shaka Khan drumming?
No. I didn't know
She's
she was a drummer too.
Yeah.
Damn.
Shaka Khan and Karen Carpenter are two of the greatest drummers that have ever lived.
Karen Carpenter's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
Shaka Khan.
Whenever I saw Spearhead, Michael Franti's band Spearhead, I saw them once, and I can't remember the name of the woman he had drumming for him there, but she was incredible as well. Just ridiculous.
There's something amazing about seeing a woman play the drums or play the bass. I don't know what it is, but it's just... it looks amazing.
I think what it is it's called a fetish, Rich.
I know what fetishes are. I have them. Maybe there is one. Maybe I like strong women.
Fair play.
I think drumming and bass playing, and driving classic cars. When you see a woman driving a classic car, and I'm not. This is not me. What do you call it? I'm not. What do you call it? I'm not being a dick when it comes to women. I'm just saying when they do certain things, it looks amazing. So,
you should check out a post-rock band, what kind of post-metal band really, called Brutus. Fucking fantastic female drummer who sings while she plays drums. Yeah,
nice.
Amazing. See, that's not many people can get away with being a singing drummer. It's not cool. The only person I think that could get away with it was Levon Helm from the band.
Oh,
he
brilliant.
looked cool when he was singing and drumming.
Oh, Phil Collins. Come on.
There's a big Phil Collins sized hole in this room, man.
I just wish Phil Collins would just stick to drumming. Because he's a brilliant drummer.
He's incredible.
I mean, I tell you what he's even better at: divorces. Anyway, right, let's back to this song, man. I mean,
yes, indeed. Yeah.
It's gone full Jules Holland, isn't it? Really. He keeps talking about his small axe, which fair enough, man. We're not going to judge you on that too much. This one.
That's a reference to Bob Marley, isn't it?
Yeah. Is it really? It went over my head, the My Small Axe one.
Exactly. Well, there's also the kind of the double meaning of guitar as well. Your axe. Yeah.
This one's kind of gone a bit far for me. It's kind of feels a little bit kind of Sting levels of musical worthiness,
I think this is a real kind of appeal to authenticity in music. I mean, as well, you got a woodcutter, which is a real man's job. That's none of your namby-pamby shit on that. And yeah, it's very keeping it real for me. But I'm not saying that in a good way.
I think like it's that when he says about his small axe, it's that feeling of he feels inferior, feels he's not up to the task because he's not got the proper tools.
Oh, you think?
He's a woodcutter's son, and he's not living up maybe to the expectations of his dad.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I think maybe this is an old English story from like the 19th century. I think the woodcutter's son. It's a short story.
Oh, perhaps I'm not sure.
Yeah. So it's that.
But it sounds to me.
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, no, it's like he's putting himself putting himself as this musical purist who's come to cut a swathe through the pop stuff that's going on, all the fake music. He's chopping down the fluff around him because he's the one who has the best taste.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I took for it too. But at the same time, the juxtaposition of that is this song is like when it goes into this kind of massive breakdown in the middle, one of the things that it really reminded me of is, like how overblown, for example, the Guns N' Roses live show became in that Use Your Illusion era.
Right, sure.
And that was kind of what it reminded me of, that whole kind of where they'd just go off into the middle of a jam and you'd have a kind of a big key solo.
Right, okay.
And you'd go through, like, everyone was a very credible musician, everyone was playing something good, but it was all just a bit like, it just felt a little bit self-indulgent.
Self-indulgent is probably where I would go with this as well, yeah. It doesn't do much. There's not enough of a catchy tune for me to let him off the self-indulgence, I don't think. I think this is average. It's fair, but I don't think it's a particularly inspired riff.
Yeah.
It sounds a bit like a free B-side and therefore a reef A-side.
As a bigger fan, Rich, what's your take on this one?
I like it. It wasn't really my favourite. See, this album, we'll get to it in a minute, but I like this. I like who's on it, like we said, and Steve Winwood being on it is just brilliant.
Sure.
I actually saw Steve Winwood live, and I was stood next to Marcus Russell, who's the Oasis manager.
Oh, nice, yeah.
I sort of went, oh, Marcus Russell, nice work, man, nice work. I don't know how you do it, but you do it. He's like, oh, yeah, thank you very much. Anyway, so then we're watching, and one of my favourite songs by Steve Winwood is called Dear Mr. Fantasy, which is a Traffic song. It's incredible. It's such a great song. And we were watching him, and he just starts. If you're into Steve Winwood, you're into Traffic, you know this song. And it just starts really slowly, and it just builds up really nicely. As it started, the whole place just erupted because we knew what was coming.
Oh, lovely.
And I just felt this arm go around my shoulder, and it was Marcus Russell, and he just went, "Isn't it amazing that we're getting to see this live?"
Ah.
And it was such a beautiful moment. It was really nice. So
that's awesome.
That's a really nice memory for that, sure.
Yeah. So I think with this having Steve Winwood on it, I think to me it has a certain charm.
It adds something for you.
But I think I know what you mean, and I think this is why later on Weller was sort of like becoming aware of his own sound and was going, well, I don't want to keep doing that same thing over and over again. And that's why he started to get a little bit more experimental as he went on. So I think this album is like the peak of that time. And so this is like the peak of that sound.
Okay.
Which is why it's like, I think that's what it is. But yeah, I like it, but not, it's not my favourite, but I like it. It's
fair
all
enough.
Right. It's all right,
No, but that's where I'm at. I think it's all right. It's not the worst thing on here, but it's not the best.
Yeah, I find this one, I actually find this one quite annoying, if I'm honest with you.
Okay.
But there you go. And I say that from having quite enjoyed the first four.
Right, yeah.
Anyway, so look, all right, well, let's crack on for the next one. The next one is called Time Passes.
Right, so yeah, here we go.
I've written here a reflective, slower track, but I just read my own handwriting as a reflective showerhead.
Okay, you were thinking about something else, were you? But yes, no, we were definitely into a different kind of feel from the last one.
Okay, well, we're kind of like on a lament on the effects of passing time and changes, aren't we?
Indeed.
Essentially on relationships.
Yeah, and I must admit, whenever I saw this album was called Stanley Road, and I read that that's a nod to the street he grew up on, I thought there was going to be a lot more of this sort of stuff, like reflective and in my day, and looking back at his life, sort of thing. But this is potentially one of those things. But I thought it was going to be full of that, and it's not.
I think Paul Weller's known for not really looking back. I think this was the first time in his career when he really sort of looked back on where he'd been and what had happened, and because he was in a position of, he actually, like we said before, he'd actually, Phoenix from the ashes from his career. He's actually back on top, and everyone's talking about him, and he's a big influence on everybody. And I think, but famously, for years, ever since the Jam split up, they were always like, the Jam are getting back together. Go get the Jam back together, and he was always like, look, I'm not interested. And forever wouldn't ever look back, would never play those old songs.
Right.
And I think this is a time when he started to look back. As he was getting older, as you do, you start to look back and you start to assess things and work out where you are, where you're going, where you've been.
Yeah.
So I think this is the pinnacle of that. I think this is him making those first kind of looking back and actually, do you know what? It's actually been all right. Yeah.
See, I think so. I think it's a solidly written lyric and like quite plaintively delivered. I think it's a little bit formulaic. The track itself, a little bit dull, maybe. There's a weird false ending reprise that kind of
that threw me.
kicks in.
It's weird.
And I think this is what you were talking about last time, Rich, when because it kind of has this weird false ending and then goes into this kind of non sequitur funk jam. And I feel like that's because obviously listening back to it on Spotify, that's a track, but I guess it's probably an interlude.
Yeah, you'd assume it's not supposed to be part of Time Passes. Might well be my guess.
It's just the interlude, that goes into the next bit.
Yeah, and the thing is, I love songs that are reminiscing and a little bit sad. I get a big kick out of that sort of stuff, but I think this is a pretty slight version of that. I don't mind
That's
it. That's
the Irish in you. The Irish like to feel sad about
I do. I love it.
Melancholy.
I absolutely love it, man. But I don't think there's much to get my teeth into in this one. This is a little bit forgettable. It's I don't think it's a bad song again, but I would probably skip this if I was going through the album, for my own choices. And so it's not really one for me. I do enjoy that interlude bit, which is presumably going to come up, because there is some kind of nice, funky, dusty drum break going on in that, and swirling stuff that Brendan Lynch is doing his production stuff, which is a nice palate cleanser before you go into the more the Weller songs again. But I think this one it's a bit of a not a misstep, because I'm sure there's loads of Weller fans who are into it.
It's not the one for me, really. I'm not massively into it.
Nah. But I mean, here is a bit of the weirdness. Just we'll let this play a little bit. And this is definitely the kind of this thing that Brendan Lynch has gone, tell you what, mate, let's chuck this in between the songs, because I don't know where else to put it. So yeah, this is fine. But then the next song, if we kind of skip through this, is Stanley Road itself, which is, so it's title track. Let's skip to that.
Some pretty dramatic keys. This feels like a bit like a High School Musical.
You tell where Dave's palette lies. Very much on the surface.
You're right. It does feel like a Sharks and a Jets sort of thing, doesn't it? And so, this is very specifically about his old house and his old street, Stanley Road. And again, I love that sort of, I love songs like, what's the Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Our House. Yeah. I think that's a beautiful song, and it evokes such wonderful feelings. Beatles, Penny Lane, that sort of thing. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a genre, Madness, Our House as well, I suppose. But I just find this a little bit basic.
I really like this one.
Oh, no, okay, nice.
For me, this is a really nice combination. You've got this great lyrical reflection on his kind of childhood memories, and but for me, the tune itself is pretty decent. Obviously, it stays out of the norm of having like a particular chorus per se. There's nothing in there, but it's full of well executed muso-ness, and for me, it kind of straddles that line. As I say, it straddles that line between. Whereas for me, Woodcutter's song was a little bit kind of smugly muso. Right. This one escapes that, and there's just an earnestness to it, and something in the vocal performance that saves it from those excesses. But
okay.
I get quite a lot out of this one.
Oh, nice. Okay, Rich, you a fan?
I'm going to say no. This one for me. I've never really. I like it, but I don't. I just like. It's just not. It's a bit. Listen. I don't want to say the word, but it's a bit bland for me.
Right. Yep.
Just kind of that. It doesn't really get. It just. I don't know. There's nothing to sort of get into. It feels. He's written better songs about where he's from in the past. Like there's a song called Aha Oh Yeah, which is a great track.
Oh, I really like that one.
Yeah, it's a good track.
Which is a great track. This one for me, I've rarely listened to this one all the way through. When I listen to the album, I always skip it.
Fair, okay.
It's just not for me. It's
fair enough.
This doesn't connect with me.
Well, to me, because I like. Yeah. I think I would agree with Dave on the imagery. I think what he's saying, I get the impression of, he's basking in those happy times, the long summer days, and the street that he still holds in his heart.
On.
I like those. I like the words, but the tune is a bit of a plodder to me.
Let's move on to the next one, and the last track in this section we're going to talk about. This one's called Broken Stones.
Okay, and this was also a single. So this was the fourth single, got to number 20 in September of 1995.
This is like another kind of plaintive, stripped back kind of backbeat blues kind of track in it, really.
And this one has Mick Talbot, who was in the Style Council with Paul Weller on keyboards. In fact, he's done most of Weller's solo projects since then. He was also a member of Dexy's Midnight Runners in 1980 for like 2 months or something, turns out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in Stone Foundation now.
Yeah.
Which is another band that Paul Weller's been helping produce.
I see, okay. But yeah, no, he's like a good buddy of Paul's and has been there from the start, I suppose. Well, not the start, not the jam, but a long time. This single, though, I remember this being a kind of all over the radio back in the day. I remember it being kind of... I mean, fair enough, number 20 is not a massive, but it was a hit, and I remember thinking, I fucking hate this. I really took against this single. I find this so dull.
See, I don't remember this. I didn't know it was a single, and I'm quite surprised to find out it was a single.
I see. Okay, right. This was the fourth single.
I find this one a bit... And I've just written it's a bit anonymous, really. It's got some of the ingredients of the ones that I do like.
Right.
But it just feels a little bit washed out, ironically.
Yeah, indeed.
I actually like this one.
Do you? Right, well, a lot of people did.
A lot of people did.
I think I liked it. I liked the video because it had a lot of the people I recognised from his life in it, like Paolo Hewitt and...
Oh, sure,
like yeah. It was just a nice... I think maybe at the time I might have been a bit blinded by the fact that I was obsessed with him.
Right.
So there's a bit of that.
You definitely wanted to like it a little bit.
There's a bit of that.
Yeah.
Everything he did and said, and that's why I was surprised about Stanley Road, and I didn't really tell anybody that I didn't like it until sort of now. Really, I think it's probably the first time I've said it out loud.
There you are.
Oh yeah,
you're like my name's Rich Wilson, and I'm not a fan of Stanley Road the song.
It's a safe space. It's a safe place, Rich. You can have controversial opinions such as I don't like the title track of the Paul Weller album. No one's going to come for you apart from a fucking load of mods with guns. You better not step foot in Brighton again, son.
Yeah. That's it now.
It sounds to me like he's almost doing a Joe Cocker impression on this song as well. There's a bit of Cocker in there, I feel. But I think there's just not a lot going on. I think this is very flat to me, and again, I can't hear a tune that I would hum any time after I'd heard it. So no, it's not for me. And the analogy, he says he was inspired to write this after a conversation he had with his son at the beach, that people are broken stones trying to get whole again. And I possibly need to tell him that if you break a stone, it just becomes two stones.
Yeah.
You can't put it back together. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, you can't do that with people. If you cut a person in two, that's just one. That's one dead person. That's not two people.
But
Dave, you've been broken. You know what that means. You know what that feels like.
I remain broken.
We're back together now.
Am I?
Yeah, not in the right way. I'm back together. I've definitely got some of the bits round the wrong way.
I remain an awful husk of what I once was and could have been, Rich. Do you know what I mean?
All right, yeah, so, no, okay. I think Dave and I are a no on that one, but you're a yes, Rich, yeah?
I am, yes.
Lovely, okay. Well, we are now 2/3 of the way through, so we'll take another wee break out of this album and go into the singles that were released. We're going to do the top 10 of what was going on in the week that this Paul Weller album was number one, and that's the week of May the 21st to 27th, 1995. And what I'm going to give you on this one is, if you get it right, I'm going to give you this. And if you get it wrong, there you go. Like a loser. So, top number 10 is a new entry. We haven't seen this one before, and this was a big song, and is still touted today as a fucking classic. I'm not necessarily a big fan, but see if you remember it.
Oh, yeah. This is a tune.
What you got? What do you say?
McCalmont and Butler, yes.
It is McCalmont and Butler, yes.
Yeah,
absolutely it is. You a fan of this one then, Rich, yeah?
I certainly am. This is an absolute classic. Yep, stand by that.
Oh, fair play. Right, no, it's one of those ones that I kind of get all the moving parts, but as a whole, it doesn't do it for me.
Oh, hated it at the time.
Oh,
hated it at the time.
Ah, okay. So I've not come round to it yet. Oh, fair enough.
Hated it at the time, and then one day it came on somewhere. I can't remember where I was, and I'm like, this is actually all right.
I see.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yes, you got it right, so you're absolutely correct, mate. So that was number 10. Number 9 is, I'm not playing this one, Man United featuring Striker, We're Gonna Do It Again. Not a fucking clue about that one. Number 8 was Celine Dion, Only One Road, which we've seen on the full album anyway. Number 7, I can't imagine either of you will know this and get it. But I'll play it just in case. Here we go. Essentially, it sort of becomes like one of their bigger tunes in a second. So you might kind of work out who... So it sounds like their bigger hit.
Yeah, it's like Nightcrawlers.
It is Nightcrawlers.
Yeah.
Well done, mate. Well done. It's Nightcrawlers. It's called Surrender Your Love.
Right.
No idea. No idea.
Garbage.
Oh, absolute shit. But okay, Dave got that, so fair play. I will happily let you have that. Number 6. I don't remember this very well. In fact, I don't think I'm even going to bother trying you.
Oh, vaguely, yeah.
If I told you it's called Your Loving Arms, does that help?
No. Is it like Corona or
no,
something?
No, it's Billy Ray Martin. Who fucking knows?
Who cares?
Who knows?
Fuck.
No, don't give a shit. Number 5 is not on Spotify. What a shame, because it's Ali Campbell from UB40s with a solo song called That Look in Your Eye.
No,
don't want to know. Number 4 is Live Enjoy Dreamer. Number 3 is Scatman John Scatman, which we've all seen before. Number 2 is Jerez Perez Prado Guaglione. Number 1 is absolute dog shit. Let me play this and see. You'll know the song, and therefore you'll get who it is very quickly, I think.
Those two cunts.
It's those two cunts.
Robson and Jerome.
Robson
yeah.
and Jerome. Thank you. Yes,
and
indeed.
An absolute massacre of Unchained Melody.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
How they managed to get a fucking an epic kind of rousing tune and make it sound like a load of shit in a bucket.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's like as if they literally ran it over in a metaphorical roll, like a steamroller. That's the only way you flatten that out.
One of the tanks from their soldier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It would be until Game of Thrones that I kind of forgave whichever one's the one with the big nose.
Oh, he did. He was great as Jerome Flynn.
Yeah,
was great as Tommy Cooper. I saw him do it.
Oh.
It was the live show, and it was Tommy Cooper backstage before he was about to go on and have his final show. It was brilliant.
Oh, well.
Brilliant.
Fair.
Nice.
I didn't know he did that. Well,
yeah, it was fantastic.
Still can't forgive him for this.
Did it put a lot of heart into the performance?
Oh, yeah.
Fucking hell.
Good Lord.
I didn't get at it. I was like, well, he actually really embodied the spirit of Tommy Cooper.
Shocking. All right, well, look, here's some other singles that came out in this time period. We've got 2 weeks to look at of other stuff that came out. We've already seen the album. We did the full album on Radiohead's Fake Plastic Trees. Got to number 20 in this time period. And, I mean, we've already said what we think about this album. You a fan of that, Rick?
Of Radiohead?
The Bends?
Oh, the Bends is a banger. I love the Bends. It's a brilliant album.
Yeah, fair play. Future Sound of London released Far Out Lung and the Ramblings of a Madman. So that's
has it got Papua New Guinea on it?
No, it was well past that. They'd gone off on just bizarre tangents at this point. Got to number 22.
Yeah.
Here's one that Dave, I suspect, will get immediately. Got to number 27.
Oh, it's a Rage Against the Machine.
No.
Oh, hang on. Oh no, it's oh yeah, I know exactly what this is. Hang on a second. Murder. It's Faith No More.
Yes, it is.
And it's hang on, it's the second track off of King for a Day. Not out of bed time.
Such a nerd.
Well, at least you get to hear Dave singing it.
Fuck, I'm just trying to remember what it's
nice,
called.
Isn't it? So like
it's not Ricochet.
It is Ricochet.
It is Ricochet.
It's Ricochet.
Thank you.
Well done. Yes, so that's Ricochet, Faith No More.
Kicking the arse out of me.
And so that got to number 27. Well, I'll tell you what, here's one that Dave is not going to get. You might, Rich. I'm not sure if you were a fan back in the day, but here's this one.
Oh, that's the Charlatans.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. You got any idea?
Just looking.
Just looking.
Just looking.
It's fucking just looking. Well played, mate. Well played. You get.
Not telling stories, is it?
No.
Up to our hits.
No, it's off the Charlatans. The Charlatans. Yeah, it's off the self-titled, and it was released as a double A side with Bullet Comes. It's that one there. So yeah, but this is just looking. Well played, mate. Well played. You get
Bullet Come.
Bullet Come. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What an awful affliction that'd be.
I've smashed the lights again.
I really want to give you a blowjob. Well, you don't understand the problem this causes me.
Killed the cat last time we did.
Oh no. Oh God. Right, Teenage Fan Club released Sparky's Dream, got to number 40. This one got to number 43. I'm going to play this because I'm pretty sure Dave will get this.
Oh God. Is it like saying? Is it like 1 minute silence?
Oh no, it's much bigger than that.
Is it?
Yeah.
Sepultura?
Nope.
Wait.
There you go. There's your riff.
Oh, is it fucking later Pantera?
No.
I don't know what this is.
Machine Head.
Oh, okay.
This is old.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it is old. Yeah,
Old man.
Oh,
That one there.
Yeah, yes, that.
Yeah, that one. Oh, sorry, Dave. You're going to get it. You loser. Yeah, I got to 43. That one.
Yeah,
So,
I should have known that.
Fair enough.
I haven't listened to that album in a long time now, to be fair.
No. Again, it's one of the two songs that I think is decent off that album. Really. This was what fucking huge, and I reckon you'll both know this one. Only got to number 54 though.
Oh, I do know this. Oh, this is Jeff Buckley.
Yes, it's Jeff Buckley. Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I love this song, man.
It's
I
off Grace.
absolutely love this song. Yeah,
Do you know,
I can never
I
remember
never
the track's
bothered
called.
listening to Grace until last year.
Last year, okay.
Didn't fancy it.
Do you know, I did that as well.
Yeah.
Not as late as we've done some podcasts before. Not as late as last year, but it was probably about 10 or 15 years ago, and I just picked it up in the sale at I was at Blue Water with my wife, and just picked it up for like £3 about one of those kind of CD sales, and put it on in the car on the way back. And she fell asleep next to me, and I was driving back from Kent, and the sun was going down, and I was just crying in the car on my own. It was my album's fucking incredible. I can't remember what the song's called though.
It's called Last Goodbye.
Last Goodbye. There.
Yeah,
That's what it's
Last
called.
Goodbye, Jeff Buckley. But yeah,
I just made a point last year of going through,
like
because of
classic
my mod
albums.
snobbery from 20 years ago, I went back and revisited a load of albums that, because I was talking to someone and I'd said, oh yeah, I've never listened to it. And I went, you can't say you don't like it if you've never listened to it.
Sure.
I went, I just don't fancy. I never fancied it, and then I went and listened to it. And I'm like, oh, this is incredible.
Did it hit you the right way? Yeah.
It did, yeah. I think I was
Nice.
ready for it.
Nice.
It's one of the best
fair
records
play.
ever made, I reckon.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's
Fair
fantastic.
dues. All right, so that's Jeff Buckley. In a bit of a complete right turn off Jeff Buckley, this one got to number 12. And this is a band that we have done a full album on the podcast before.
This is like A1 or 5 or something.
Oh no, it's much bigger than that. Well, it's earlier than that, at least. It's a big one. It's called
It's not
Hold My-
New Kids on the Block, is it?
No,
And it's not E17.
it is E17.
Oh, it is E17?
It's
I don't know this
E17.
one at all.
God.
Hold My Body Tight. Hold my body tight.
Has anyone seen the state of Brian Harvey knocking out on all these Facebook
Oh, yeah.
videos?
Have you seen
Jesus
what he
Christ,
thinks
no.
of the songs?
Oh, no.
Oh, it was fucking shit, mate. It
Oh,
was
really?
shit. Yeah. I wanted to do R&B.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. Oh, dear, mate. Well, sorry, mate. in another life you could have been a success, but never mind.
And he honestly, mate, he just looks like, like you can buy those like boxes of deformed vegetables from the supermarket.
Oh, sure, yeah.
so save a few quid. Honestly, mate, he looks like the ones where they're going, oh no, this is a step too far. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Oh dear.
We'll just mulch this one.
Oh, poor boy. All right, well, look, there's only one left to go. And, Dave, do you want the original or do you want the remix?
Oh, man, I want the remix.
Remix it is. Here we go.
Root Down by the Beastie Boys.
Root Down.
Oh, Rich as well.
Come on.
Lovely stuff.
This remix
mate.
is better than the
It's the
original.
Free Zone remix,
The
right?
Free Zone mix,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Oh, well played, both of you.
Yeah, he's
My
there.
God.
Fucking great, man.
The Root Down EP, what a fucking...
Exactly. That's when
next
here's
level.
the Root Down EP.
Yeah, I
came
think
out.
Dave and I have actually spoken about it outside of this.
Oh, I see. Lovely.
Yeah.
Got to number 23.
I think I've had 3 copies of this on vinyl, and I think every single one of them is skipped.
Oh, there was an issue. I'm sure I had to properly weigh it down and scratch through a skip on this. Yeah. But no, this is a great EP. And so this is the Free Zone mix for anyone who hasn't heard it before. Yeah. But I mean, obviously the original On Ill Communication I think is fucking brilliant too. One of their best. One of their absolute best. Cool.
It's funny actually because my dad used to buy. He kept buying the Ian Dury single "Superman's Big Sister," and it kept skipping at the same point. So now when I hear that song, even though it's not on vinyl, I can still hear the skip.
I know exactly what that's like. I've got some in my collection. Even though I bought a new copy or I hear it on Spotify, I'm expecting it to jump. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Well, that's all the singles. But before we go back into the album, I just want to go back into some of my TV show suggestions for Paul Weller.
Oh, good.
Because I've got some more for you guys.
Dear.
I know how much you love the old ones.
They're all very similar, though.
Well, yes, they are. But, that means that one of them's going to be a winner, I'm sure. So I've got Paul Weller's Ball Sweller, where contestants have to pump up like basketballs or footballs or something as fast as they can while Paul plays a guitar solo, and the first one to burst is a win. So I reckon there's something in that.
I'm not commissioning that.
No? Okay. No. How about Paul Weller's...
That's a YouTube thing.
That could be a YouTube short. That's fine. Paul Weller's Mole Dweller, where he has to live in an abandoned shopping mall for a month, just surviving on...
A mole dweller? I thought you said mould.
Oh, no,
I thought you said mold.
I beg your pardon. No, shopping mall.
Mole dweller.
A mole dweller, yeah. And he can only eat from stuff he forages out of, Holland and Barrett that's closed down or something in there.
Okay, cool.
So,
right, yeah.
So it's some sort of rubbery. And also, I've got Paul Weller's Wall Yeller, where he has to scream the lyrics from Shout to the Top at a brick wall until it collapses.
Okay.
I reckon there's something in that.
Yeah, that's the one I'd be most likely to watch.
Good, okay. Well, I've only got a couple more, but we'll do them later on.
I'll look forward to those. Could you do those after I've left? Only limited time. I'm afraid we're going to have to wrap that up.
Okay, well, that's the singles anyway. Well done, everyone, for getting lots and lots of those. But let's do the last third of this Paul Weller album.
Okay, so the next one is called... I can't read my own writing. It's called Out of the Something. What's it called?
Out of the Sinking.
Out of the Sinking. Oh, yeah, slightly more up-tempo, but some Air Supply bass.
Air Supply. Yes, mate. Now we're talking.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
And this was the first single. It was released in November of 1994. I got to number 24. And so, this was kind of the first taster that we had after Wildwood of the new material. And Weller has been quoted as saying that this one was written as, quote, a great English mod love song. So he took some inspiration from the Small Faces and stuff that he was into when putting this one together. And I think you can hear those influences in this.
I think so, yeah, definitely.
And the main thing I notice about this is the bass line in this.
Yeah.
Straight away, there's something that stands out to me about the bass playing.
Yeah, I think that bass line is definitely the best part of this song.
Right.
It's okay. A bit dull for me. Doesn't get hooks into me.
No.
I'm finding some bits of it a bit overly familiar by this part of the journey.
I see. Okay.
But doesn't offend me. Don't dislike it, but I'm not. Outside of that bass line, I'm not really finding anything to hang my hat on.
Okay.
Self-Rich?
I like it. I liked it when it came out.
Uh-huh.
I think, is it Damon Minchella on bass from Ocean Colour Scene?
It's
or is it
not.
Yolanda Charles?
It's Yolanda Charles. Indeed, yeah, because I looked up who it was, and it turns out it's this woman called Leanda Charles who got discovered by Paul Weller when she was part of the house band on the Channel 4 programme Saturday Zoo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was on there. Jonathan Ross hosted. I think it only ran for a few months, one of those. But Weller then recruited her for the Wildwood live shows, and then she was brought back to do some tracks on this album. But yeah, she's done loads and loads of session work.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. Dave Stewart, Robbie Williams, the Waterboys, Hans Zimmer, apparently.
Hans Zimmer. Who's got the keys to his bimmer?
Well, quite.
Still going strong as well. She's still gigging. She's
Nice.
still around.
Right, well, yeah, she's... I mean, from the sounds of this, I like this style, because she's really putting that bass at the front. And obviously that's production as well, but it's not just sitting underneath doing not much or just supporting. I think it's something actually going on with this.
Yeah.
I think this is better than other stuff on the album. This is one of the ones that will be in my top third, probably. But... Again, I'm not going to put this on any compilations, stuff like that. No.
All right. If anyone else got anything else to add to that one?
No, I think that's it.
Right, well, let's do Pink on White Walls.
Pink on White Walls. So, track number 10 we're at, aren't we? Pink on White Walls.
Yeah.
And again, this one's got Steve Winwood on piano and Wurlitzer organ.
So yeah, it's a quite upbeat little blues standard, this, isn't it?
Okay, yeah.
It's got some life about it.
There's a bit of a 70s rock feel to this one.
Yeah, I can see that. Got a bit of a Bugsy Malone feel to it, actually.
Yeah, sure. I said I can hear if there was like a Smokey and the Bandit film on, I can hear the bar band playing this.
Do you know what?
Yeah, that sort of a feel.
That's spot on.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this is okay, I reckon. It's again, I'm not going to recommend this to a friend, but it's okay. And the main part of the song is basically go. Time is short. Do what you want. Go for it. Live your best life or whatever, which is a great message.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely take this one over some of the kind of the more brooding numbers on this album. I'd say it's a little bit of life. It's got now you've said that Smokey and the Bandit thing. It's definitely got a bit. It's definitely got a bit of Burt Reynolds about it.
Oh, yeah, and you can picture him like with this over the credits.
Absolutely. There's some outtakes happening. The song fades out and a car crashes accidentally and the policeman says "fuck." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the song comes back in. But yeah, no, I'm enjoying this. I think this is all right. I
don't quite understand why it's called Pink on White Walls.
Rich probably knows.
Rich, any idea? What?
No idea.
It says the sun shone pink on white walls and the trees stood so tall. But I don't get the kind of the relevance of pink on white walls. But this is
maybe it was to do with. There might be some graffiti somewhere. There might
maybe
be
so. I do not know.
A picture or something somewhere that he's kind of referencing maybe.
I mean, to be fair, if it was white on pink walls, it'd have been a Rogers Profanosaurus entry, wouldn't
Very
it?
much so, yes, absolutely. This is inoffensive. I like the message to it. It's very retro, but not in...
But yeah, like you said, definitely a Faces kind of...
Yes, exactly. Faces is probably what I'm looking at, yeah, because this doesn't sound the mod thing to me. This sounds a bit more of that 70s later on. But it's all right.
Yeah.
It's okay. I don't quite get the relevance and the reference of Pink on White Walls, but, I'm not in Paul Weller's head. So that's all right.
All right, anything else to add?
One of the shortest songs on there as well. It's only a couple of minutes long.
There you go. Well, let's move on then. Let's have a little listen to the next one, which is called Whirlpool's End, which is presumably written about a disaster on a washing machine brand.
Oh, probably, yeah. Okay.
PR disaster. Now, look, right... when we were chatting about this album with our mates at the other podcast,
yes,
right, I made a joke that one of the songs sounded like Sleeping Satellite, and this song, it must have been subconscious because I think there's bits of this. Look,
yeah, okay, no, I
sounds
see.
like fucking Sleeping Satellite.
I can absolutely hear that. I can absolutely hear the. Do
you hear what I mean?
A little bit of Tasman Archer in here.
The moonlit night.
God, yeah, no, I hear that. I do hear that. Okay. And this is very much an Issues song.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what he was known for in the Jam and the Style Council and Red Wedge. So his career is made on that sort of thing. I'm not surprised, but yeah, it's a bomb exploding in another town, children choking on a poison cloud, bullets fall like unholy rain, people change as the panic sets in. It's like, crikey, this is fucking...
Yeah. Again...
It's deep, dark.
It's also quite lively, a good bit of driving rock, and I think this one's decent. It's a little bit meandering here and there, but it's got some driving, a bit of muscle to it. There's a breakdown at the end that's pretty fucking epic, I would say.
Yes, I mean, if you look at this on Spotify, because I was like, Jesus Christ, this song's 7 minutes 12.
Yeah.
I was expecting it just to do this for ages, but the last sort of 4 minutes or something around that are a kind of a big breakdown, big jam, and it's just like it's a very different feel to it, and that's my favourite bit of this song for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think this is. There's a lot going on production-wise. Brendan Lynch comes into it. Fucking Steve White gets to go off on one. Brilliant on the drums again. But to be honest, this is probably the song, apart from Changing Man, that I get most out of.
Yeah, this is one of my favourites as well.
Right.
How do you feel on this one, Rich?
This is the best song on the album.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, okay.
I feel.
Damn.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
Because
I feel validated.
as Krister said, it's all about Steve White on this one.
Yeah.
He gets to cut loose and be pure Steve White. Steve White drums like an octopus, he's fucking amazing. And this really pushes Steve to the front and just goes, this is what he does. And best song on the album.
Let me skip through to some of that bit. So let me just... Right, Jam Out Session. And there's bits in this, and Rich, you'll know the song, Fucking in the Bushes by Oasis.
Yeah.
There's bits on that I think Noel Gallagher's heard this and gone, I could have a bit of this. Just that bum, bum,
Probably.
bam, bum, bum, bam. It's really cool. Yeah, and there's loads going on. It's a good, fun way to, not end the album because there's one more song, but to just get loose towards the end and let people have a fucking rattle around.
It's the same as on Heliocentric. There's an album, there's a song called Picking Up Sticks, which starts off very kind of very swirly, and then it just goes off, and then there's a drum solo from Steve White that is just next level. So this is very reminiscent of that. It's very kind of let's all just cut loose and have a fucking good time.
Is this, if you talked to other Paul Weller fans, is this common knowledge that this song is one of the good ones on this album? Because I'd never heard of it before in my life, obviously, because it's not a single.
I don't really know.
Or is this just us cool people recognising it for what it is?
Come on, Richard's not telling us you're not on the forums, mate.
Listen, man, once it's on the forums, it's old news, man.
There you go. Love it.
It's just personal. It's a personal thing to me.
Yeah.
I just think... I was always a big fan of Steve White, like I said before, and whenever he got to cut loose on anything, I was always like, fuck yeah.
Yes.
So this did it for me. Yeah.
Excellent.
Brilliant. Oh, well, we're pretty united on that one.
I'm more than happy with that.
All right, brilliant. Okay, so, well, look, this is the last one then, man. I can't believe we're here already. This one is called, and I say that with a little bit of irony, can't believe we're here already. after
a week.
After some of after hours. Anyway, I'll tell that story at the end. Wings of Steel, this one is.
Nope. Wings of Speed.
Sorry. Wings of Speed. You're quite right. Sorry, man. I was just the comic book nerd in me just can't help.
Right, here was Wings of Speed.
It's not even Wings of. What the fuck am I talking
about? And again, we've got Mick Talbot on Hammond organ and pipe organ on this one, apparently. And we have decided to kind of eschew the guitars and go just piano led.
This is proper
no drums and gospel.
Gospel, yeah.
Big piano ballad.
Big piano ballad, yeah. And so, full on big gospel going on. We do get Carleen Anderson. I think at this time, was she still in the Young Disciples, or was she already soloed?
No, I think they disbanded by then. They had the one album, didn't they?
Oh, did they? Oh, right, okay. So she's on there on sort of not backing vocals, but it's almost like a duet at points. And her voice is fantastic.
Yeah, but so is Paul Weller's. Let's not under.
Oh, really?
I think
you're giving him props for this.
I think this is a really, really good vocal delivery and a nice stripped back thing. I think the song itself is a little bit by the numbers.
Okay.
And it kind of falls just on the wrong side of the line for me, perhaps. But that doesn't stop me from enjoying the good bits within here. And as you say, that's Carly Anderson's vocal. And I think Paul Weller's vocal is really, really strong here. I kind of understand why this is, why it's the end of the record. It's an appropriate end.
Well, you couldn't really put it anywhere else.
No,
I think
you
it would
couldn't.
stand out too much.
I don't love it at all, but I don't. Again, but I do think there are things to admire within it.
Okay. I mean, Rich, would you enjoy this one? Did you like this at the time?
I do enjoy it.
Yeah?
I think it's epic.
Nice.
I love the gospel influences, and Paul Weller even says himself that Carleen Anderson's vocals just elevate this song to another level.
Right.
And what he actually said was, "This is the nearest I'll ever get to hearing angels singing."
Oh, blimey!
He's listening to Carleen Anderson. She's phenomenal. I think she had, I don't know how many solo albums she's had out, but I've got one, Mama Said, I think it's called. If it's wrong, I apologise. But Carleen Anderson is, one of the greatest soul singers of the last 40
powerhouse,
years.
Powerhouse of a voice, really
Incredible.
is.
That's powerhouse. I'm just translating.
I think her dad was, what's he called?
Brett Anderson?
Bobby Bird?
Yeah. What?
Bobby Bird?
No.
Oh, yeah,
Holy
someone
shit.
like that.
Oh, that's incredible. I didn't know that. She's got a pedigree like that. That's fantastic. Wow. I mean, this one doesn't do much for me. I think she's great.
I hope it's Bobby Bird. Sorry, man.
I don't
hope
know.
it's Bobby Bird, because I've got this wrong before.
I don't know. I think Dave's
it's
looking
one
at
of the birds.
I'm going to do it. Carleen Anderson.
Big Bird?
Yeah.
Carleen Anderson. Dr. Ruben Anderson. That can't be right. Hang on a minute.
I don't know. But yeah, as a song, this is a little bit light for me. It doesn't do much. I think it's pretty.
Bobby Bird, yeah.
Bobby
her
Bird.
Her stepfather is Bobby Bird.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, still not bad.
Her godfather was James Brown.
Wow. Is that true?
Yeah, that is true.
It's the godfather of soul and Carleen Anderson.
Yeah. Yeah, her mother is famous backing singer called Vicky Anderson.
Okay.
She grew up with her grandparents during the Civil Rights Movement.
Fine. And it's called Wings of Speed. And I thought, this is the opposite of Bob Marley then, because he sings of weed. So it's the flip side.
I can only apologise, Rich.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should have mentioned this before you came on, really, shouldn't I?
Spings of weed.
He sings of weed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, well, look, that's the whole album.
Lovely. Well, have you got any more TV suggestions?
I do. I've only got two more. A couple more TV shows.
A whole two?
Two more. Oh. So, this is a good one. You're going to like this.
I bet that's inaccurate.
Weller, Geller, Penn and Teller. And it's so Paul Weller, he's locked in a flat with Uri Geller and the magicians Penn and Teller for a month.
Okay.
And none of them can be released until Paul Weller can either restart a stopped clock or saw a woman in half.
Cool.
So, yeah, that's a good one. And then the last one I've got is, I've just called it A Manly Load on Stanley Road, where he goes back to the street he grew up on for a massive wank.
Nice, okay, fair enough.
He just has a massive wank.
That's it. He goes back, this is where I grew up. Oh, I'm just going to have a massive
all over the sign.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fair enough, mate.
A Manly Load on Stanley Road.
I don't think you should. I don't think you should say anything about Paul Weller having a massive stroke at this point, mate.
Oh, Jesus.
Not if you want unless you want to really scare some people with bad haircuts.
Oh dear.
Right. Okay.
Now he's just turned 67 as well. That's going to be. I don't know how manly that load's going to be.
I'm sure
a whispering puff on Stanley Road.
As long as he has some porridge the day before, I'm sure he'll be fine.
Like a punched Hoover bag.
Like an asthmatic's last cough. Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, let's do our social media.
Okay,
bit,
cool.
we?
Yes, we'll see what our other listeners thought on this one. So on Facebook, Chris Hall said, "No doubt there's some decent hooks on here, but it's one of those albums that marked the post-definitely maybe gradual stripping away of all the interesting bits of Britpop when it all became about shit lads in Ben Sherman shirts throwing beer around. Still better than Ocean Colour Scene." Okay, Chris, fair enough.
True Cult Pop podcast, brilliant record for me. The only time Weller completely nails the gruff mod thing that he's associated with, mixed with his soul R&B influences. The title track, Porcelain Gods, Broken Stones, the cover of Gilded Splinters, all gorgeous, sun-kissed, blissed out summer tunes. So Stephen from True Cult Pop is a big fan of this one.
Yeah, okay.
I can see his hair now. I can see his hair. He's got the cut, hasn't he?
He's got absolutely none.
He's
mate.
as bold as me and Dave.
He's got none.
Yeah.
He's got none.
None at all.
None.
He's got a wig then. He's got a wig that he
I was going
wears.
to say
Oh,
probably.
hope so.
I apologise to him.
Stephen
I
Grady says, "Love the album. Walking on Gilded Splinters, Out of the Sinking and Changing Man are my favourites. I overplayed Broken Stones. Not quite up there with Wildwood, but an album I really enjoy."
Okay, well, here comes Noel Bakewell. And without having read this tweet yet, I'm going to suggest he's going to say something lightly scathing about it.
Yes, I suspect.
There we go. All I will say is that every time I hear You Do Something to Me, I imagine a trailer for a Sunday night ITV drama starring Robson Green and Tamsin Outhwaite. How many basic couples have made basic babies riding to that song? The Imagine of the 90s. Harsh.
Never holds back. Yeah. Dorian Rogers says, "I loved the Jam and a handful of Style Council songs were great. I didn't mind the first couple of solo albums, but by this point I got totally bored of his earnest trad rock. It's not a terrible album, but it is very dull." Right, okay, so yeah, gone off it by this point, it sounds.
Ogre Mail on Twitter, Matt. It's decent, not a Stonewall classic, but it has many of his best solo singles on it. Broken Stones is a lovely song. I suppose it brought him back to relevance, but in any case, I bloody love the Style Council, the hits, not the albums or clothes.
Mike Latrell, and I've known Mike a long time, and he's a huge Paul Weller fan, so I knew he was going to be into this one. Commercially, the kick he needed to get back to the highs of the Style Council and the Jam, not as fully rounded as the previous Wildwood, which had more of an atmosphere. This is packed full of live favourites: You Do Something to Me, Out of Thinking, Broken Stones, and Walk on Gilded Splinters, and Changing Man. Love the album, but it's not one I listen to that often. I much prefer the earlier two, and when he changed tack and pushed more boundaries. Still stands as an album, but those that think this is where it peaks are wrong. Recent albums are better. What this probably did, though, was get all the Jam fans back into the fold after the Style Council. 10 out of 10, but I'm pretty biased because I'm a big fan.
Fair enough. Martin Roberts loved this album. Saw Paul Weller at Tea in the Park Festival up in Scotland around this time. He was one of the highlights for me, along with The Prodigy and Terrorvision. Can't beat a bit of Terrorvision. I'm sure you will agree. I feel like you might be baiting me there, Martin. I feel like you're laying a trap, and I'm not going to eat the piece of cheese that's in it.
Fair play. Noah Jack Neal said, "I did enjoy it, but I don't like Oasis, and somehow, I know it's not logical, when I thought of Paul Weller, I always thought of Oasis. I was born in 75 with older brothers, and they played the Jam, which I love and still do today." So that makes sense.
Tony Hayward, the album that delivered a brief renaissance in blokes sporting haircuts that looked like the fire alarm went off in the barbers halfway through. Generally, it's ready salted crisps work. Not unpalatable, but not exactly sensations mini poppadoms. Broken Stones is all right. Good work.
Very much like that.
Good work from Tony there.
That's great.
You know what? It's funny when there's that picture every year. It comes up of the Weller heads, and it's always the same pictures. My mate is one of the pictures.
No way! In that classic meme.
I don't know if he. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant!
I don't know if he's seen it. He must have seen it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, yeah. Someone must have sent it to him.
Yeah.
Martin Young on Facebook says, "This album is okay, but the peak of that whole dad rock Modfather thing that, to be fair, I think Weller himself ultimately recoiled against, and his whole career post-90s was him moving away from this formula and doing his most interesting work. The one-dimensional plodding sludge of most of this record is really highlighted when you listen to pretty much anything he's done in the last 20 years. And I'll admit, I've not heard anything he's done in the last 20 years, but obviously, Rich, I know you have, and you did say it's much more kind of creative and inventive than potentially was this album."
Yeah, he lost me. He's really, to be honest, I've listened to some of the stuff he's been doing lately, and good on him. Like I say, he's in his 60s now, and you know, we can't even get a podcast to sound right. Who am I to really judge a man that's done 50 years in the business, you know, and has racked up top 10 hit after top 10 hit. But for me, it doesn't really. This is when I think Stanley Road was when it started for me to kind of go, I am not, like I've already said with that song, I'm like, I am not really into that.
Yeah.
And then it got to, Heavy Soul, and I went, that's some good stuff on that. It's pretty cool. And Heliocentric, and then as it went along, Illusions, and then it really get to 22 Dreams, and I kind of came away from it after that.
Right, I see.
So I did keep up as much as I could. But then then people go, oh yeah, but you just like the old stuff because you're into the jam. Like, no, that stuff. The first solo album for me, like I said at the beginning of this podcast 8 weeks ago, is for me that's peak Weller. That's Weller at his best because he was against all odds. He was adrift. Yeah. It was just him, and it was all on him to reignite his career, and he did it with it's just I feel it's the better album.
Fair enough.
There we are.
Lovely. So I've just got one more comment on Twitter here. X. No, I'm not calling it that. Fuck it. Nope. It's from the Paul Weller fan podcast.
Oh yes.
And unsurprisingly, it says, "Hell yes, life changer."
Yeah.
Fair fucks to you guys. I hope this if you have listened to this podcast, I hope it hasn't annoyed you too badly. We brought Rich in.
Oh, they're going to listen. This is going to get back to him, and he's going to come round all our houses.
Yeah.
And he's going to do a heavy load for our letterboxes.
Well, I hope the camera crews are there because that's very close to Krister's TV idea.
Wait, we're in. I got a couple more on Facebook here. Matt Bradley says, not an album I listened to in a long time. I do remember liking Out of the Sinking and Broken Stones at the time, but this was before I really dipped my toe into actual soul music. I think it's highly unlikely I'll ever go back to this record unless the world cancels Otis Redding and Sam Cooke.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And we've got various other people that, thank you to John Myers, thank you Neil Meadowcroft, BPM Lab. I mean, BPM was the music's okay. I like the hair products though. Phil Guthrie just says, thoughts and prayers, lads. So we've got a load of people. Thank you for getting in contact, but we do need to crack on and finish this episode.
Yeah, we certainly do. Rich on a bit of a time sink. So look, thoughts overall. I'll tell you what I thought. Basically, for me, this is a bit of a weird one. Overall, I kind of liked it more than I expected to.
Okay,
I kind of expected to not like this. At all, in a way. And, as it turned out, there were some bits on it that I actually really did enjoy. I won't be rushing back to this one. Overall, it's a little bit on that kind of grown-up kind of side of self, little bit self-important in places, but there's some undeniable passion on it and some really great stuff. Particularly, I like Paul Weller's voice an awful lot more than I expected to. And the moments when that drummer is allowed to shine, man, Jesus Christ, wow.
Let him go.
Certainly, right, kind of those moments really kind of elevate it above that well-crafted level. It's a mixed bag for me, essentially, but I did overall enjoy it more than I thought I would.
Okay. I thought it was all right. I thought there was a couple of really good tracks on there. I thought there was quite a lot of filler, and the filler I found really very plodding.
Fair enough.
So I wasn't expecting to love it either. I kind of thought, coming out their side, that's pretty much what I expected. But there were a couple of surprises.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Rich, coming back to this after a few years, mate, where were you at with it?
I think it's one of those, it caught me at the time, and seeing him on the White Room, really at his peak, he looked amazing. The Changing Man video is fantastic because it's just him looking the bollocks in every shot, and just fucking great. And it got me at the time. I think now that my taste has sort of matured a bit, I'm like, it was nice to revisit. It was nice to, catch up with a few of the songs again. Yeah. But I probably won't rush to put this one on again for a while.
Fine. Did you have a load of friends at that time who were also into it? Because you kind of got a crew who were Weller fans or whatever. Or was it just you?
Not really. When was this? 95. So. Yeah. No, I was too busy messing around with the mother of my first children. We were too busy splitting up and cheating on each other and getting back together.
I've got to ask you, Rich. Did you ever have a Vespa?
Do you know what? I did. I had a Vespa.
Wow.
It cost me. I bought it for £100 round the corner. I was living in Rochester at the time. Bought it from the guy around the corner. It was cream and green, like sparkly green. Yeah. And then I sold it to go to Edinburgh for the first time to go and fly her for Just the Tonic.
Wow.
In 2005 or 6.
Wow.
And I sold it for £200.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Fair play.
100% profit.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Right. As part of what we do every time we do an album, we put at least one track, no more than 3, onto our ongoing playlist.
Yes, we do.
I'd make a case for either 1 or 2 tracks on this one.
I think that's fair.
Okay.
I don't think we need to do 3.
This wouldn't be a 3 for me. I suspect we're not going to be too far apart on this one. Whirlpool's End would be
I would stick that
one
on.
suggestion, and Changing Man, I think, would be where I would
Changing
go.
Man is definitely probably my favourite. I really do like the version of I Walk on Gilded Splinters. I think that's fun, really, really good. But it's also a bit of a jam in the same way that Whirlpool's End is.
I walk on Gilded Splinters again. Like really did get its claws into me. I really enjoyed that one as well. I don't mind, mate. I do, for the sake of the fact that probably a lot more people have probably heard Changing Man than Gilded Splinters. I'm happy to go with Gilded Splinters.
I think it'd be just a nice touch. If we put on Gilded Splinters and we put on Whirlpool's End, why not? As you know,
I'll tell you what. Why don't we let Rich decide between Gilded Splinters and Changing Man?
Go on,
as
Rich.
he's here. What would you go with?
That's not fair.
No.
Well, I think as you two are in agreement, I think it has to be Gilded Splinters, maybe.
Okay,
fair enough, mate.
Done.
Fair enough. Lovely stuff.
Awesome.
Rich, we'll say goodbye, and then if you hang on after this, I'll do a little Easter egg and tell you the backstory of how we actually got here. Richard has got to go, though, mate, because I know you said we had you until 6:30, so I'll say goodbye to you now rather than make you listen to all that shit. But, Rich, thank you so much for persevering through all the trials and tribulations.
Honest to God, man. Thank you.
Hope anything you want to plug, mate, while you're on?
I've got a show out on Next Up Comedy. It's very, very cheap to subscribe. I think it's only like £1 or £2. There's acres of comedy on there, but my new show, The Train, the Story, and the Bump, is on there. And I'll tell you this: the funniest bit is towards the end, 40 minutes in, where I do the big reveal, and I don't get the response that I had kind of planned for, and the whole show unravels. So,
wonderful!
Watch that. It's worth £1 just to stay to that bit.
Did you
And
record
watch
it
me
in
just go-
Forge?
I did, yeah.
Fucking hell, man! I saw it in Leicester. It's a great show. Everybody go and see it. It's a really good show.
You were there, weren't you? Yeah.
No, I'm not just saying that because he's my mate, but it's a really good show. Really interesting.
Well, I'll put links to that show and to Rich's, like all his other stuff in the description.
Yeah, you got podcasts as well, haven't you, Rich?
Yeah, Insane in the Membrane. We've got a new one starting called The Tuned Up Time Machine, which is in conjunction with our radio show. It's all on richwilsoncomedian.com. All the links are on there.
Well, yeah, I'll stick a link to that so people can check out everything else.
Yeah,
thank you,
wicked, mate. And big love to the missus as well, mate. Rich's wife's an amazing comedian called Kate McGowan, so check her out as well.
Big love to all of your families and their broken bits. Good luck telling the stories.
Oh, man.
Right, cheers, mate. See you soon, mate.
Catch up with you soon.
Lovely
Cheers,
stuff.
Rich.
All right, everyone.
Cheers, bye.
Right, everyone, thanks for joining us. If you want us, we'll say goodbye. If you want to stay afterwards, you can hear the weird story. Otherwise, you can just fuck off now. But thanks for joining us. We'll be back soon with another episode.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for checking out this episode of Pop Collaborate and Listen. It was produced and edited by us, for which we can only apologise. We are on Twitter at PCL Podcast, on Instagram also at PCL Podcast, and Facebook.com/PCL Podcast. All of these, plus links to our various Spotify playlists, etc., are on our website, which is PCLpodcast.com. Please feel free to get in contact via any of the social media or on PCLmusicpodcast@gmail.com.
So now, I mean, this has probably been built up too much, but I just wanted to share with you like the hassles we had. So normally, when we arrange to have a guest on the podcast, it's a pretty simple thing. We say, okay, this is going to be the time and the place. We've got a setup here that we know how to use.
Exactly. The time and the place is my flat,
Krister's flat, basically.
Because we've got all the hardware here.
Yeah, we've got our own little studio here, little setup, and so basically arranged with Rich to come down. And first of all, like the traffic was just insanely bad, basically. So we were like,
it was bank holiday weekend.
Yeah, bank holiday weekend. Rich was coming in like with the holiday traffic, and we were getting up there. Bless him. He left him plenty of time, but he just got kind of caught up. And by the time he got here, we only really had about half an hour's worth of recording.
Yeah, because the
time.
reason he was coming to Brighton was because he was doing a show in Brighton that evening. And so he was like, yeah, I'll come down before that and we'll record the podcast. Brilliant.
But originally when we booked it, we thought, and as well, he's going to be here for the whole weekend, but this Saturday show got cancelled. So he ended up going back to Bath that day. So all of a sudden, we were like, okay, well, we can't do it. So we arranged a second date, which was on the Sunday. And then we got round here and everyone was here, everyone was ready to record, and we just realised that we had a technological kind of gap that we could not solve.
Absolute nightmare.
It's fair to say you were slightly hungover.
I was slightly hungover, but I don't think I could have done it sober either.
We didn't have a clue. We tried, Rich, and we lost the time slot that Rich had, and that was fucked. And then we rescheduled it. We were going to try again on Tuesday, right?
Yeah. Just to go back a little bit, after Richard had to go, that first time we tried to do the remote recording, we couldn't work it out while Rich was there at all. Yeah. And then we got it to work.
Yes, that's right.
And we were like, fuck, okay, this
Everything
is working.
works.
So let's, but Rich wasn't able to record that day anymore, but we're like, oh fuck, okay, well, we've not worked it out. Rich, can you do another day? So we arranged another day, but then whenever he came back that day, the recording didn't work again.
That's right. That is correct.
So we had all the bits. Essentially, it's to do with what channel stuff's going through. We had feedback loops. We had issues with stuff coming through the same channel when it shouldn't. And we got it worked out. And then it didn't work when we went to do it again.
Yeah, because you had to take your laptop out to do something else. And when you plugged it back in, there was some setting that we had missed. Yeah. Anyway, so we
got him back again.
And then we went, okay, well, we're going to use this different platform. Rich recommended a platform that he uses for his. We kind of sussed out how to do that. We got up quite early on the Tuesday morning. Yep. You and me did a tech run through online, made sure it all worked. Then said to Rich, right, it's definitely on today. And then I got in the car and I started driving over here because I was going to be in the same room with Krister. And then literally, as I would say, under 100 yards away from Krister's house, my phone rang and my wife phoned me and went, Dave, I've broken my finger. So I had to go home, take her to A&E. I spent 4.5 hours on Tuesday in A&E, right? Which is great.
So we had to cancel Rich.
And we arranged to meet up the next day as well. But then in the morning, just before I was due to leave, a phone call came through. And my mum lives at the bottom of my garden in an annex. I got my phone rang. And I why is mum calling me? And I phoned her and her voice sounded weak. And my mum had fallen over in the garden and smashed up her head, which meant we had to cancel everything again. And I spent 8 hours in A&E yesterday getting MRI scans and X-rays with my 82-year-old mum. She is fine. She's a bit bruised and beaten up, but I'm pretty sure that the security guard on the door of the A&E has reported me for violence towards various women. Literally on the Monday as well, my daughter fell over on a patio and banged her head.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Didn't need to go to A&E, but every woman in my house has been beaten up basically.
Wow.
At some point this week. So we finally got it together today. So it's like imperfect situations. Rich is in Edinburgh on a hotel Wi-Fi connection, but bless him, did what he could. So hopefully the end product has come out all right. But we have sweated blood and tears to get this fucking podcast
I'll tell you, this isn't
out.
going to be perfect because we were supposed to be able to record his bit remotely and have it on its own thing so I could edit it through. And then as we were recording it, it came up on the laptop going, oh, we've stopped recording his bit, by the way, because the Wi-Fi connection is not good enough.
So basically, this is a tale of woe.
You get what you're given.
It's free for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? It's still good value for money. But we have, normally this thing is relatively easy to do, but we have had a real pain in the arse. So that's our little sob story. So play your violins for us, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Fucking Paul Weller.
Anyway, thank you for joining us. I'll say a bye again for a second time. Take it easy and see you next time. Bye.